Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 226. It is Friday, November 15th. We'll publish this on the 16th. We're back down in the basement. It's me. It's my teenage son, Jack, to talk about another week of wrestling. There's timestamps. Jump ahead to whatever you would like. We usually talk about whatever in this first little bit. And the big news is Brace is off today. After how long?
Like over 3.5 years.
Pushing 4 years. Then it was supposed to be how long?
2
years. So he's not going to smile and show the video, I'm sure, because he doesn't want to, but you never know. Might come out if I make him laugh and he's facing that direction. Yeah. See, I just got to see it. Looks great. Well worth it for sure. Money well spent, I guess. But it's been a bit of an interesting week. Your grandmother's in town, right? For the first time in many, many, many years, I think. And so...
Yeah, that's what I'm told.
How old were you, do you think, last time she was here?
My mother says pre-COVID.
Okay. So that was downtown for a huge Korean meal on... What night was that? Tuesday?
Yeah.
And then
immediate just cash, too.
Oh, yeah. And a big gift, a generous gift for you and your brother. Because
which
that's
I
how she is.
spent part of.
You did spend part of.
Got another Darth Maul, which that was key.
As we left the restaurant, you spent part of it.
It was right near the double GameStop. So.
It was. Because we were right downtown for that. And then tonight
hand.
we just got back from a huge meal. Your grandmother cooking at your aunt's house about an hour away. So we ate far too many different things. So much food. It was fun. It was good. Mm-hmm. So we just drove back home and we got a busy day tomorrow. You are going to look at another university. We all went down to TMU last Saturday. I guess we wouldn't have talked about that. We would have talked about on our way to it, but we went to it. What did you think?
It was good. I don't really have any strong opinions.
Yeah, we saw residents. We listened to 4 people talk about...
I got no problem going there.
We heard 4 people talk about some programs that might interest you, et cetera, et cetera. So we're doing that again this week at Durham College / Trent University. It's a joint program, I guess. We'll check that out and see. And then I've got your brother's, one of his basketball leagues is starting up this weekend. So I have 3 games to go to there. And then the high school team I'm coaching.
Good time for him to be playing.
Is keeping me busy too. So yeah, he's got some foot problems, but he's going to tough it out, I think, and play. So anyways, anything you wanted to discuss?
Well, if all goes to plan, I'll be driving next week.
Yeah, that's true too. Yes. Hopefully full license is going to happen. We'll update you on that one next Saturday.
Yeah.
If you're watching on video, he chose a bunch of figures that are topical right now, I guess, right? So if you're...
I was going to pick some from main roster too. I was like, nah, I don't care.
If you're just on audio, you're missing. It's just the Hurt Business and what are they called again?
Death Riders.
Death Riders with a Z.
I got my Switchblade, but that's because he's my favorite.
Right. So, I don't know. Anything else you want to discuss? I would like to get this party started.
No.
That's it? All right. So, we'll move into our first wrestling-related segment every week. It is looking at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, so taking a look at ratings, it's NXT 631,000 viewers this week, up a tiny bit, 1.9%, earned a 0.16 in the key demographic, down 5.9, head-to-head with NBA and college football. Dynamite rebounded. Did you hear about this?
No.
So after getting beat last week when when NXT moved to Wednesday, I guess, this week Dynamite rebounds 666,000 viewers, up 27.3%. And a 0.22 in the key demographic, up 37.5. So, to be fair, the only major competition was from an NBA game with nothing. Sometimes it's 2-3 things at a time, right? So, good numbers for Dynamite this week. What do you have? I struggled to flesh out. I try and shoot for like 3 or 4 news stories. It was not easy today.
I had to start working off of Cultaholics Instagram because they'll usually post like relevant news stuff, and then because
that's smart, probably.
The sites are
an option I don't have.
Actually, I'm kind of curious because I've never gone on their website to see if like that's just the same effective thing. Okay, so it is actually. So maybe I'll start using their site instead of because What Culture I used to use a lot, but then it was like they've been reporting less news and stuff. So
and more like this happened on this show. That's what I'm sifting. I'm just scrolling through like
that's some of the
3 matches announced for NXT, and like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not.
Yeah. Anyways. An interesting thing for us will be Mike Bailey's reportedly finished with TNA, which would explain last week's result. And he's expected to head to AEW. My guess is they were scouting him off of MLP.
Well,
given
if they
he
watched
faced one of their guys.
if they watched him and Takeshita, right?
That's what I'm saying.
That match was insane. So awesome because
I
he's great.
love him. I
but
think that'd be great, but I feel like he'll get lost in the shuffle
It's gonna-
because he's not a very
yeah.
interesting person.
It's like bringing in Commander or
Ricochet.
Vikingo or something,
Ricochet
right?
is not lasting long in prominence.
So love Mike Bailey, and some of his matches will get
Him and Ricochet would be crazy. You could run back him and Ospreay. You could run back him and Takeshita.
Yeah,
Him and Fletcher would be really cool.
yeah. Actually, I can segue off of that because where is it? At WrestleCade Super Show. I don't really know where it is or what it is. First time meeting that sounds awesome to me. Shelton Benjamin, Mike Bailey.
That would be really good, actually.
Yeah, so that was one of my. So you can go again because that was one of my news stories. I thought I'd. Remember when you used to try and segue everything all the
Pretty
time?
much everything, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even have one.
No, that one was just a natural.
Internal talks within WWE to make the ECW theme night an annual thing for NXT.
Oh, of course, if it was at all successful. Until all
Get those
those
nostalgic pops.
exactly, and they won. So it is kind of significant that they are the ones that switched nights and still won. You know what I mean? Because we
Yeah.
always talk about when you switch nights, you're gonna lose viewers. That's just how it goes. And they gained and beat the show that's always on that night.
Yeah.
So it's not nothing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch, I guess, is expected to be back in the mix, was the quote, with WWE soon. Sources within WWE and Netflix have stated that she is expected to be back with the company by the time they premiere on Netflix in January, right? Coming up.
That's true. I also had that, but yeah, that she's supposed to be back by then. I forgot she's the one that lost to Liv.
She's been gone since May, and then contract expired June, they say. Yeah, it's been
Well, because remember she was
a
taking
while.
crazy amounts of heat for like no reason.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I think the smart move was to just take the sabbatical, and
I guess
good
so.
for her because child and whatnot. So
Yep. Time with the children. Is
Yeah,
it one or
she was-
two now? I don't
I
know.
think it's still the one.
Is it?
But she was taking like crazy heat, like she was Cena for some reason, and I don't think
Right.
that was ever earned.
No,
'cause,
me
like,
either.
I don't think she's ever pushed to that point. So I thought it was kind of ridiculous. Ever since she won the world title when Ripley got injured, it was just you forget that Liv wasn't the one that just won the title. Like she
Right.
won it from Becky.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I did forget 100%.
I even forgot. So it's interesting, but yeah, hopefully she's back, and that'll be cool.
Better than ever.
Speaking of back, there we go.
Nice.
Wade Barrett is possibly coming out of retirement. That's been discussed for a program with McIntyre.
Okay, he does,
It'd be like a short term thing.
and he probably talks trash about him on commentary and whatnot.
I don't think so.
No?
Not in a Nigel way, because that's what I would compare it to.
Right.
Honestly, I would kind of like a better Barrett feud with Sheamus. Bring back that League of Nations history. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Actually, no, you can't. Well, you can be. They'd have to be very careful because the other two guys in the group are Miro, who they won't mention because not there, but the other one's Del Rio.
Oh no, he's
So
done.
maybe McIntyre's a better play because
I-
then you can just be like European.
I didn't hate Barrett in the ring. I don't think he was amazing,
Barrett
but
was
he was like a bare knuckle boxer type of style. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, his finisher was a forearm, but I'd put that over
The
cross.
bull hammer?
Yeah, the bull
It
hammer.
looked pretty good sometimes.
Or the Wade slam.
Not gonna lie, the Wade slam. That's right. Exactly. What else would I have here? Did you hear what song is attached to Full Gear?
Uh-huh.
So I can't imagine that would be cheap.
I saw they're premiering a music video.
So when Tony Khan wants a song, he goes and gets it. It's November Rain. Yes. So on Collision tomorrow, or when this episode gets released, it's going to be some sort of
like a full
music video thing.
for November
So
Rain. That's
that's a super long song too, if I remember correctly. If they do the whole thing,
I've never actually listened to it. I think I heard it when it was in Thor: Love and Thunder a couple years back because that movie was like very Guns N' Roses.
yes.
They used Welcome to the Jungle.
So I was
like,
14
they used
years
a lot of
old.
stuff.
So November Rain was big on the slow dance circuit at your dances at school and stuff. And I remember it being really long. So I'll look it up while you go your next.
That sounds
story.
right. I remember like for me, I like Paradise City, but I like
8:57.
Jeez,
Right?
dude. How
So if you ended up dancing with someone you didn't really want to dance with, because
you're there for 9 minutes, basically.
you're there for 9 minutes, brother.
So my thing is like I think Paradise City is like 6 minutes or something like that.
Sure.
If my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
And
Pro-
I
usually
like
does.
that song a lot, but I like most of that song. I think I like the first like
Right.
3-4 minutes, but then it just keeps trailing on for too long. Like I like
6:48.
Yeah, I like the general chorus and whatever, like in like the actual verses, but then it starts just going like
Yeah.
wherever, whatever, and I don't. So I think my 2 favorite songs from that are like "Welcome to the Jungle" and "Sweet Child of Mine," which would be like anyone's pick, but I'm not super
Yeah,
heavy
those
into
are
Guns N' Roses anyways.
A-sides for sure.
Right, but like
I'm wondering if they're gonna
long
fill.
songs, I don't know how you do
They're
it.
gonna fill like it's a full 9-minute music video. Like they're gonna do the whole song. And then the other
I'm kinda
part,
interested to check it out. I forget when it's out.
the other problem is it's slow for a long time and then it picks up. So when you're at a dance and you start out slow dancing, then it's like it picks up significantly. You're like, now what do you do? Because I'm sure as hell not fast dancing, am I right? So you have to
keep,
find
like, changing it around.
It's not the best. If you ever hear it, think about that. Okay?
Yeah,
just picture it.
Imagine I'll put that on the prom playlist next year.
So what? 14? I would have been grade 9. Your brother's age right now.
Oh, great. And dancing for 9.
Rocking it out in grade 9.
I don't want to dance to anything or in any way for 9 minutes.
We had Much Music video dances. They would come and set up huge screens and play music, which as a teenager without cable, that was awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be dancing. I'd just be watching it.
It was fun.
I'd just be watching your MTV
Back
music
in the
television.
old days. Yep.
I was thinking about like sometimes when I'm playing games at night late, things are a little less focused, and I was like, huh, that's interesting.
What, you can't see?
I feel, yeah, it's like sometimes like it's a little less bright. I was like,
because you're exhausted probably.
That, and you've only started having like late night glasses. I noticed when you're driving or when we're watching AEW. I was like, it's weird that might happen already, but I was like, you also didn't have screens when you were a child.
Correct. So. Yeah, my late night driving glasses now. It helps cut down the glare on lights.
That's what I thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, last thing is kind of related to. So it's kind of related to, I guess, NXT doing ECW Arena, and when Collision was in the esports stadium, that was cool. AEW set to tape Collision from the Hammerstein Ballroom next month, which was where they did the one night stand shows. And,
iconic EEW venue.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool.
That'd be cool. I think NXT or WWE also wanted to do that, but then it was too close to the AEW date. So
even my anti-nostalgia carcass doesn't mind.
Well, now it's just like one of those places that's visually different too.
Correct. That's part of it.
Stands, and so like that's what I like.
It's very distinct.
Like my personal favorite venue will be like, I always love Daly's Place, and we always say that whenever they go there. I love when they go to Daly's Place. It's always just a different look.
And the open air is awesome.
The open air, it's right. It's different. The setup, they always have like the ramp kind of coming from a diagonal spot is different. So I think this is cool. And if it's next month, that'll be right in C2 season. So we'll, depending on, maybe we'll catch some. I would honestly check out an episode just to see AEW in the venue, and then it depends on what the C2 is looking like. I mean,
better be
if
good.
we get Speedball in at the right time, I'd say throw them in there just for the fun of it.
Me too.
I
really hope that tournament lives up to last year, or at least close to it.
It was so good, but like
it was so fun.
Short list for people I want for sure. Well, obviously, so we know Okada is the one, obviously. So I don't know, but I want Takeshita. I want Fletcher. I'd even say throw Ospreay in there.
I'd love Roosh to get back in.
I would like Roosh to be in there. Honestly,
Mordos,
Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
Switchblade.
Yeah.
Hangman maybe.
So much talent. That's the problem.
Speedball. Yeah. There's that is the benefit. There's so many good choices, but you can't throw in all the heavy hitters either, which is why I want someone like Mark Briscoe in there, because I thought him and Lethal and even Roosh to an extent served a great purpose, because they all looked really good had some great matches, but they were never going to win and never needed to win.
Correct.
And for even Lethal, that was a point of contention where he never won.
Just when you're at the level they're at within AEW, and I love all those guys.
Right.
Any exposure, right? Like just constantly being
which
in
we
the
were saying for
Roosh,
he really benefited from that. And he even got to beat. I think he beat Lethal, and for sure Lethal, and then I think maybe he beat Mark too.
I guess what I'm saying is being on TV and losing competitive matches is way better than not being on TV.
Yeah, and that's what I like for the C2s is that it's some form of consistency for some people, because you're doing the round robin thing, so you're going to have to be on TV consistently. Whereas, like, let's say Roosh were to get a competitive singles match. Let's say he was challenging Takeshita for that title, for example. There's no guarantee that he'll get another one next week. Whereas in the C2, he's getting consistent, right? But then you had the heavy hitters like, wasn't that the block with like Swerve, Switchblade, and Mox? Remember they had the three-way tie? Like, that's crazy.
Oh, right.
So, and then I know we didn't really pay much attention to the other side of things.
Yeah.
But they had the story with Garcia. Where he was, I think the big win he got was over Brody King, maybe. And then obviously it was Eddie Kingston and Danielson, I think, in the finals of that block, which we did see because that was on Dynamite. But so I'm hoping they mix it up well. Like, I'm trying to think of who would kind of fit that Lethal Briscoe vibe. Like I was saying, because I don't know if Shelton needs to win a lot. Like I think Shelton being in there could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. There's some guy, or even like I would say Leo Rush, but I feel like he doesn't exactly. Would like someone a little bigger than him. You know what I mean? Not bigger even size wise, but just kind of on star power.
Yeah.
But there's definitely I want Takeshita in there.
I just love it because, and most tournaments, it's not unique to that tournament, but
I guess it would apply to G1 if we were New Japan fans.
It gives you stakes for every match. So when people are critical of like, and it's realistic because tournaments happen.
And remember, this is the guaranteed no interference too.
And yeah, so when people are say like, oh, AEW just has this great in-ring stuff, but there's no story or no point. Well, there is a really large overarching story.
It's just kind of
for many people to just have good matches because they're competing for something.
Yeah.
And that's realistic, and that's kind of what I like.
It was such a smash hit last year. Like I'm excited. I guess I'm a little concerned too, but I also think the roster's gotten so bolstered since then. Like we picked up Ospreay and Okada and like a bunch of guys. So I think it'll be interesting.
Should be fun.
It's probably my favorite time of year, so it'll be interesting. And then hopefully, I hope World's End turns out better this year because that show was not great.
I don't remember.
But it was like the one where Joe won the title.
Joe could come back and go in the C2.
Oh, I would hope that's a good one, yeah. And honestly, he could probably lose a decent amount.
Correct. He can take losses.
Like I think
I
would love to see him in there.
Lose. Yeah,
that'd be really cool. I don't think there's anyone else I really need there. Honestly,
executives are listening. We know that.
Orange Cassidy would be really cool to put in there.
We know they're
just because of how he operates.
It's going to be exactly everyone we listed.
Throw in Pac, maybe
in that order.
Put Pac in
Always
there.
any Pac.
I will say one more thing before we move on is that it'll be interesting to see how this factors in during the Death Rider saga, because their whole thing is like just kind of doing whatever, but the whole thing is that there's fines or whatever. There's some sort of repercussion for interfering, right? In the Continental type matches.
And
so
would they even fit within the tournament? I guess you could be like on your quest to seize power, you're trying to take everything, including the C2. So you're sticking Pac in there.
And that's maybe their way of
But then you would also ask, why would the executives put in a member when they're trying to destroy their company?
That's true.
Like, sure, have a shot.
Yeah, because there's no qualifiers. Because I feel like qualifiers for this would take so long.
Yeah, they would for sure.
I don't know. It'll be fun. It's always something to look forward to. So I'm super hyped with that. I'm honestly looking forward to Full Gear a lot too, which will be precede the C2. I think C2 starting the week after.
Nice. Yeah, Full Gear is shaping up with some in-ring stuff that should be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be their next week's preview, though.
So as this headline said, promoting synergy across their television home. WWE NXT wrestlers set to appear on a game show this week. You saw? Did you see who they are? I was going to get you to guess.
I saw Perez. I haven't
okay, so champion, Perez. Other champion.
Trick has to be there.
Correct. And then one woman, one man.
Kalani?
No.
That would actually be horrible. Oh, what woman? Like Jade?
No. Someone who likes to shake their hips a lot.
Lola Vice, really?
Lola Vice and newly heel. Always a baby face before.
Newly heel?
Fairly newly heel.
Oh, Wes?
Yeah, Wesley.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And they're going to be on Trivial Pursuit.
Is that telegraphing title matches?
Maybe? I don't know.
No, because I feel like it'll be Ridge.
It is Ridge. Feels like. Oh, actually, I'll talk about it on NXT. It's either Ridge or Andre Chase, as we know.
But really, it's not going to be Andre Chase.
I don't know. Well, then, I almost gave the stipulation.
Oh, I know that too.
We'll talk about it. So this, I guess, is another benefit of NXT. Because
Trivial Pursuit's on the CW, right?
Yes. So that's the synergy, the word that they like to use. So that's another way they can develop, right? They're doing some mainstream media stuff. They're on a game show.
That's why it would have been funny to put Kalani on there.
Oh my God, yeah, it would have been. I have some thoughts on her this week too.
Well, 'cause I saw some like pictures they posted of, I think it was some NASCAR or some race car related thing. What are you doing?
Taping the cord back to them.
Oh, okay.
It's falling on.
I thought you were like unraping a chocolate. Honestly, made me think of the Halloween candy, which maybe I'll grab some in between.
There's major production here. I've got
I was
packing tape holding the cable under.
I'll talk over it then. I was just honestly curious. But sorry. It was before Lonnie lost the belt, and so it was just all the champions around like this NXT adorned sports car, like not sports car, race car, whatever.
Yeah.
Like a NASCAR type thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they're doing it in public speaking because otherwise it would have been funny. Because it's like her, Trick, Perez, and I think Tony D at that time.
Oh, they're really getting out there, eh?
They are.
Tony
yeah.
D, the murderer.
Represent. I want to see him in like a legit. I want to see him on.
So I abduct and murder the odd person. I can't do. I'm a
mobster.
Public appearances.
Yeah, forget about it.
Was that you or me? I don't. That was me.
That was you. I don't have anything else unless you're wrapping things up.
I don't think I do either.
I don't. Think
I do not.
Like I'm.
A slow week in the news.
Yeah. Oh, I guess one thing I can mention I saw is who's the top merch seller for WWE in the last few months? I think it's been for a bit.
Who's the top merch seller?
Don't overthink it.
In WWE.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Cody.
Yep.
Yeah, I did overthink
I just thought that'd be interesting because
of course it is.
We'd hate that.
But I firmly believe he is of such an ego that he would dedicate like 40% of his own salary to buy his own merch.
Okay,
so I think that number could be highly inflated.
I know this has been long enough, but while we're on the topic,
just to disparage Cody Rhodes for no reason.
That's kind of what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I like that.
Some people like his reign's boring, dude. And I think I've seen some people say that too. It's
of course
boring.
It is. Of
He's
course
so
it is.
Boring.
He was new and shiny, and they'd gotten him from AEW, so it was all very exciting. And all of the tribalists get to go, ha ha ha, we're taking your guy and making him better. And then it's like, it's the Cody,
Bloodline
man.
Saga caught fire, so him feuding with them is naturally gonna be interesting. But then I think now that the dust is settled, with he's not fighting Brock anymore.
B+ player.
Yeah, it's boring.
He's a B+ guy.
I think the matches with AJ were decent, right? It wasn't 1 of the 5 stars, which is too much, but they were still decent. But the feud with Solo, boring, which is partially on Solo. That's not entirely Cody's fault, but Solo's just not a draw. Who he faced someone else too. I didn't watch the match with Owens. He had a match with Logan Paul. I forgot that even happened.
He's not Roman Reigns, man. And so I'm not even the biggest Reigns fan, but Roman is a guy.
Roman is my least favorite member of the Shield, but Roman
he can be the guy.
He is the guy. He's the guy they always wanted him to be before. But Cody's just so boring.
He's
and it's
very good, but
honestly, the world champions right now, I'm just kind of because I love Gunther, but even then, I'm not
I got annoyed with him this week. I was telling you.
There's that, and I feel like that belt's always felt like secondary. Like him losing to Cody pisses me off.
Oh, it is.
And then also just because Rollins,
that's where he lost his confidence.
Yeah, he lost his smile.
I think that's where they're going.
He lost his smile.
That's why he's so nervous now.
But Rollins nearly killed himself trying to make that belt mean something, and I love that for him. But it's just the belt's existence was secondary, so it is. And then Cody just sucks butt. He sucks.
I have a long history of not enjoying
honestly,
Cody.
With SmackDown too, I think LA Knight's kind of boring too.
Sorry, that's not... Face Cody is unbearable and insufferable.
I think it'd be cool as a heel.
I know.
But he sucks so much butt.
That's why it was always he's a secret heel, because he's so pretentious.
That level of nuance is gone when he gets here, when he gets in WWE.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's no chance of that working. And it's we always say the heel shouldn't be objectively right, but Kevin Owens is right, because the whole thing is that Cody's fighting with the people that they work so hard to take down that screwed Owens out of the title multiple times, and so Owens is right to attack him. You know what I mean? Same thing with Orton, but I just want to say Cody sucks butt.
He does. Well, I mean, babyface Cody does.
Big butt.
And that was tacked onto the news, a little Cody Rhodes rant there.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll get into our most in-depth review every week. It's taking a look at this past Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. Dynamite, that's you. You just brought down some Halloween candy, so I'm going to eat candy while you talk about Dynamite, and I'll maybe chip in between candy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to...
Sugar rush to get me through this late night record.
And that's kind of the thought process, I guess.
Caramilk is first, people. Just to update you, my candy consumption. Caramilk is first.
Reverse the barks and get them to send American chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I don't know what they have that we
They have stuff.
I'm sure they do, but
By the way, America, we bought a bunch of your chips in flavors we don't have, and pretty much all of them were gross.
Yeah, you guys suck. It's not like I had burger chips a couple weeks ago and they were the most disgusting thing ever.
Well, that was Canada's fault. Right?
That was Canada. Yeah, because my last period teacher was doing something for a second period in the library, and so I tried some of the chips she had left over, and there were these Trailer Park Boys branded ones that were burger flavored, and when I tell you I'm afraid of those, I mean it. They're disgusting.
They were not good at all.
We had for a period, there were cucumber flavored Lay's chips. Remember I had those in your class? Those were bad, but I liked eating them for some reason.
What was the one from the States? Cucumber lime?
That was the Gatorade.
Oh,
that
right.
was disgusting. I think mom got rid of that because she knew I wasn't going to drink it, which, fair play. She called my bluff.
Anyways.
We kick off with Hangman Page and Christian Cage against Jay White and Juice Robinson of Zibang Bang.
My first note was about how creepy Nigel was on commentary. And I'm about to eat a twirl, which I had never experienced.
Me neither.
Until today. It is a lot like the Mirage, which I don't know if that means any. I don't know if that's a Canadian bar or if it's America. Anyways, sorry.
Despite this being a tag match, so both of them, they're just use Switchblade's theme. Not like they have a group theme or anything. Not like they have an absolute banger or anything. Like, I feel like we should be using that.
It is one of your favorites.
It might be my favorite. It's either that or Hangman's old theme. But in terms of ones created this year, it is my favorite. More on that at the end of the year. Foreshadowing or something. I don't know.
That's right. I believe so.
Yeah. Additions to this year's thingy, which I have been working on for. I think I've honestly been working on all year. No, but last year it's usually something we forget about and then pull together in the last couple months. True. But this year, I think I remember having my because we always have our short list and then we have the actual doc. I think we usually have a short list separate, but then the actual doc I think I've shared with you. But I've had my short list I think since the beginning of the year because the first match I have on there
I've been working on mine.
Darby and Takeshita, which was the first time of this year, and so I remember having that.
I'll bet you I have similar.
We have mostly similar stuff. I did because technically I shared the shortlist with you. I think I wrote down.
Sorry, what was your first one?
The PCO Steph DeLander wedding, just for you. But the Takeshita Darby.
Same.
Yeah, because that was the first time.
Wow, Trinity Jordan Grace from Hard to Kill.
That sounds right.
Do not remember that at all.
That was the first TNA show.
Apparently, I like that's why I take the notes in the moment because memory, not so much.
Anywho. Juice got knocked to the floor. Nick Wayne took a cheap shot behind the ref's back. Belly to belly to Juice from Hangman for 2. Nick went for a cheap shot again. Hook comes from the crowd, drags him over the barricade, and they brawl away. That basically neutralizes Nicholas Wayne. I was just thinking, I saw some post from NWA and made me think Kip Sabian looks a lot like Steve Corino. It's interesting. Anyways, White hits a DDT to Hangman and avoids a kill switch from Christian and hits a DDT to him as well. White with the front chancellery suplex into the corner on Hangman for 2. White hits move to hyperextend Hangman's bad knee where he drops down to his knees and kind of has his arms over the knee to hyperextend Hangman's leg. That leaves him in position for a cannonball from Juice, which he just absolutely sends it.
It was a great cannonball. He goes real fast.
Sends it. He almost went too high. And I was like, what are
really
you doing? That fall by White, Brainbuster, and Juice pins him for 2. Avalanche, fall whistling from Hangman to Juice for 2. I missed when he would do the moonsault fall whistling from the top.
Yeah, he doesn't do that much.
Maybe it's too cool babyface. I don't know.
Could be.
But I don't know. But
still, it does look painful if you're a psycho too.
That's true. Christian goes for a kill switch on White, but Juice nails the left hand from God, which I love that name. Followed by a sleeper suplex from White, and then he absolutely drills Hangman with one.
Folded him up. Hangman just sat there folded in half. Crumpled. It looked awesome.
It was kind of cool. He had a Blade Runner into the barricade on Christian. That was pretty
Those things were one after the other, and they both looked awesome.
It was in pretty rapid succession. After a distraction from Mother Wayne, Kip Sabian hit Juice in the head with the contract, and after the match, he was pretty dented. Yeah. So it reminded me, honestly, of I think when he was in the Authority, how beat up Rollins' briefcase got when he was Mr. Money.
Yeah, it was destroyed.
His briefcase was pretty beat up by the time.
Pretty satisfying smack with it.
Yeah, sure. I would say so. And Hangman won with the Deadeye, which is always weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not totally foreign. It's always strange.
Yeah, I pretty much thought Juice was going to take the pin in this, and I thought it turned out to be a pretty good opening tag team match. Paige and White just have really good chemistry. We've said it before, and I thought you got to see a little bit of that in this. I thought White had a really impressive stretch, just a little bit before the finish there. The whole hook thing, I'm not super sold on. But that was kind of a small part of this.
I'm not super feeling the feud, but at the very least, I guess credit to them for furthering it here still.
Yes, and how do you feel about the blatant swap of the Sabian Wayne story for now the Luchasaurus. Right, so you bring in the Sabian Wayne story to replace the Luchasaurus Wayne story.
So I have very mixed feelings about it because on one hand, I'm happy for Kip Sabian because I think he's pretty solid, and I like that he's getting a prominent spot. And I'm glad they're still trying to tell a story with this group. And I also understand having to do this because of the void filled by the Luchasaurus storyline, I feel.
Yes.
But I don't love it because I really like the Luchasaurus story, and I was really looking forward to that payoff.
And is this lazy, just swapping out parts, or is it consistent with Christian's character? Like, this is what he does.
I think you could see it either way, but I do kind of like that you could, kind of like how Callis was saying he swapped out Omega for Osprey and then Takeshita.
Yeah.
Or Osprey for Takeshita, right?
Yeah.
So I do kind of like that
Christian
notion.
saying,
or it's whoever like does,
because those guys were backstage when you took the pen away from me. I'm so happy with you.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like what you're saying, but it's like whichever kid does the best thing to help him or impress him is like that's the jewel of his eye right now. Like if Nick Wayne had done that, it would still be the same. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily the new one, but it's whoever is doing the best thing to help their father.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I am disappointed just because I did really enjoy the Luchasaurus storyline, and as much as I love Kip Sabian, I also love me some Luchasaurus. But I understand they
get well
had to
soon.
change tack.
Speedy recovery, Lucha.
I really hope he
Me too.
comes back, and I did kind of give them flack for always doing it with Callis, but I could see him coming back and kind of being like, "What the hell, Christian? You forgot about me." Which would kind of be a decent way to, because it's kind of already played off that Christian would treat him like that.
Gets you to the same place.
Because I feel like it's a little different with Callis, where it's like someone gets injured and he forgets about them, which it works, but it's just kind of like one of those things where you could just pull it thin air if you wanted to. But with Christian, I feel like it's kind of set up that he wouldn't check on Luchasaurus. So
no, he wouldn't.
I feel like he does have an in back, which
you would neglect him.
I hope he gets back soon because I love him a lot. But I thought it was a really quality opener to kick us off. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Bit of pay-per-view preview type thing, but it's Hangman Switchblade, so again, I can't complain.
There was they're touching again before their match, but
I don't got complaints.
I enjoy them together. So
Juice and Christian makes sense to throw in here because Juice is affiliate of Switchblade, and then Christian has previous beef with Juice and Switchblade, so I kind of thought they were nice additions there. I think it made sense. Christian was solid. He didn't do a ton of note, but I thought he was still a good piece of the puzzle here. And Juice was as entertaining as always. He had more of a role to play, and not just because he was the fall guy. But I feel like there was more I remember from him in this one.
Yeah.
Given Hangman got a win here, it does sow some seeds of doubt for me as to what the result will be at Full Gear, because I was kind of leaning towards Hangman to finally get that win against Switchblade.
It's not an easy one to pick.
But I'm yet to fully decide, so
I know,
we still got time.
I got time.
And I kind of like that as well.
Yep.
I do like when there's doubt. I just don't like it because I want to pick it.
Yes, but I love not knowing who's going to win stuff.
I like it, but I got pressure because I pitched a perfect game last time.
Like, that might be one of my factors for a 5-star match. Like, I don't know if...
Yeah, because I always like
we're pretty stingy, and, you know, like, if I know who's going to win, it's hard for the suspension of disbelief if that's it.
Yeah, like, I think of Swerve and Osprey at Forbidden Door, because that one was pretty...
Yeah.
I don't know, right? So it's different when it's like Swerve and Danielson was also a really good match, but you knew Danielson was going to win.
And I can be like I can have an opinion that someone's going to win, but I don't want to know, you know, like.
Yeah, like you don't want to be 100% positive.
Right.
Yeah, so I do like that here. The doubt's definitely there. And like I said, they furthered the Hook storyline, which I don't care much for, but like, again, I at least there are. Like, good on them for putting stock into it here. I guess, like, if you're going to build a story, you should do that. Like,
I guess.
The story we're telling, you should put effort into it.
True.
Good match to start us off, though. I enjoyed it a lot. And the action picked up towards the end pretty nicely.
It did.
Result makes sense. Then we get our Mercedes Moné interview, which was whatever. She bosses around Camille, tells her to take luggage into the room. She leaves to do so. Moné boasts about how she's not afraid of Stylander. Stylander appears behind her in the hallway because she must have said Stylander's name 3 times or something. They brawl. Camille gets into a wall and she has her arm in a sling. And Stylander spears them through a wall.
A wall that, was
Samoa Joe.
It was kind of like that, yeah. Just it sounds Renee. I thought Renee sounded stupid summarizing the like you tried to have Camille run over her. Like
I thought that
it made it all sound
that just
so
underscored
dumb.
how silly that whole thing was.
And I think like to different degrees, not that they're on the same level, but both Monet and Camille are sort of living up to the hype. You know what I mean? Coming in. Moné's, I know she's a champion and all, but is she really a draw? Is she really... And then Camille...
I'm kind of indifferent on her.
Right. And I used to love her, and now I'm kind of like annoyed.
Camille, I just don't care.
And Camille, not that she was hyped to Moné's level, but she was hyped, and she's kind of...
I think her
the bell
standing
rang.
in NWA came with a lot of hype.
But
I think we disregarded that it was NWA.
I guess, yeah.
I didn't love this because for me it feels way too soon to tease dissension between them, which what I feel like they're doing here. Like you can't tell me they're not, because she's been so incredibly harsh to Camille since she lost to Stylander, which feels so sudden to me.
It does.
So I feel like there's no way they're not at least breadcrumbing, and I feel like it's too soon to even do that, because I feel like we need more time with that Shawn Michaels Diesel kind of dynamic, and that hasn't really been established.
And I don't really feel sympathy for Camille at this point.
Right,
either.
and I feel like it's too soon. It doesn't work for me.
I thought the brawl and the wall crashing was pretty cheesy, and I
thought like it was lame, but better than the forklift one.
Like
at least she's getting sent through the wall instead of just like lying on a pallet and going through a wall.
Big question: can Tony Khan book women? Who has he?
Storm and May was good.
What star has he built? Baker, Mariah May,
Storm. I would argue
Storm, and like some people might say
Hater at one point, but they dropped the ball.
Did he make them though, or did they get over? Like, is that gimmick Tony Storm's idea?
I don't know.
I think it is. I could be
Still
wrong.
have to book it though.
I guess. I just don't know.
Way.
And maybe Thunder Rosa, some might say. I just feel like he struggles.
I think so.
And maybe it's just that like Mariah May is undeniable. Maybe it's like I'm a star.
You can make a case for that.
I'm a star in spite of you, not because of you, sort of thing.
You could easily make a case for that because I think she's fantastic.
Yeah. But anyways,
foreshadowing for best of.
I just feel like it's a constant refrain for however long we've been doing this, is like they have so much talent in the division, figure it out.
Yeah, and why is Anna Jay getting another title match?
That's another thing. There's no reason for that.
I don't think there's a reason for her to get a title match ever.
No, certainly not.
I would say if we really want to talk about the misbooking in the women's division, Exhibit A, Your Honor, Anna Jay beating Mariah May at Battle for the Belts.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is questionable. Anyways, we move on from a segment I don't like to one I liked a lot. Which
Me too.
Would be Ospreay.
Good point. I kind of forgot.
Here, saying words.
And it was lengthy, and I'm still like,
lengthy,
it was
and I enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of what they've been doing with Fletcher, and I'll talk about it later.
He's really good.
I'm very pleased.
In every area, not just like we knew in some.
In ring, I've been knowing that.
Correct.
We've been knowing that. We've been early to the Aussie Open party.
That is true.
But
met him.
I'm very pleasantly surprised with this
close personal friend of ours.
Close personal.
I forgot that gimmick that any wrestler
Kyle.
We've even looked at in
Brother
the flesh
Kyle
is our family.
Kyle.
That's right.
Uncle
Cage, Uncle Brian.
Yeah. Shivani talks to Ospreay, but he knows he wants to go out to Takeshita and get that belt back. But you're never gonna get it because Takeshita has it, so now you can't have it back.
Ever.
But he knows Ospreay also wants to go after Fletcher, and Ospreay says that's what he's here to do, and he calls him out. I did kind of like these, like respectfully, like asking Tony to leave because he has to take care of business, and I like that just contrast to like some of the heels who just like kind of steal the mic.
Yes.
It kind of endears you to Ospreay, even though you already know he's a babyface, whatever, just because everyone loves Shivani. I love Shivani. So I do kind of like that touch, just like...
And he's like, respectfully get out of here, not like...
Yeah, and like doing it as a favor to Shivani, like, you know, it's going to get ugly. So so I like that. Fletcher comes out and he says he wanted to show Will he's not a coward and he's here to face him alone. But he said the Callis family is never far behind. So if Ospreay decides to lay a hand on him, they'll send him home for longer than 3 weeks. He said, or Ospreay talks about how he knows how the family operates, so he knows Kyle has something in his back pocket. Fletcher pulls out the screwdriver and hands it to Will, and then Ospreay like just spikes it in the floor mat just perfectly.
He just flings it to the floor and it sticks in perfectly.
That's pretty awesome. People compare it to that one time where
and I'm sure that's what he was trying to do, but like to be
actually
able to do it live.
It's like that one time so remember the match where Lesnar had Redacted had the tractor?
Yes.
And he cut the promo from the up in the bed,
right.
And then he chucks the mic and Roman just catches it like it's nothing. It's like that.
Yeah.
Or I think once Roman Seth or Roman, I think it was Roman. He chucked like a chair over the cage
Yeah.
in the ring and it lands seated. It's like those perfect
It's like best case scenario. At worst, he's just going to throw the screwdriver out and it's fine. But best, it's going to stick.
And they caught it on camera perfectly.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Ospreay said Kyle lived in his house when they worked together in United Empire along with Davis. And he says Kyle knows everything about him, including where he works out, where he lives. And they picked up, I think, Will's son from school once.
Yep, that was in there.
Son. Fletcher said Kyle didn't do anything but open his mind to the truth. He said Ospreay he did help him, but he helped him for himself. He was using Aussie Open to further himself. He said everything Will does is for himself, and he said Will wanted him to succeed, but never as much as Will. He called Ospreay a selfish hypocrite and said what Ospreay did to Okada and Omega, or he talked about what Ospreay did to them, and in his position, Ospreay would have done the exact same thing. Ospreay kind of mentions that and saying, are you nothing like me, or are you an Ospreay clone? And he said he stabbed Okada and Omega in the back, but before that, he was already super accomplished in Japan. He said he's been a champion everywhere he's been, but Kyle, when it comes to Kyle, he says, you've done sod all, lad.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love the way he speaks.
It's awesome.
Fletcher said he's going to surpass Will in every single way and every accomplishment he's ever had. He said he wants to prove it at Full Gear, so he challenges Ospreay to a singles match. Ospreay said that's what this is all about. He wants his 5 minutes of fame. He says he's Mr. Pay-Per-View while saying the 4 world champion since he's been here can't match what he does on pay-per-view, which that's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
He said this is going to be sweet because he's lost so much strength in his left arm. He couldn't feel when a little boy was holding his left hand, and Fletcher took that away from him. He still Full Gear's right in front of them. He says he'll take everything from Kyle. Fletcher said he's not just coming for a piece; he's coming for everything, and he has backup as the murder machines are here. Ospreay says he has friends too. Hobbs and Davis join the ring, and we get a brawl. Aussie Open do not come to blows, which is notable.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote before I would like put out my whole thoughts, but because I did borrow notes from my boy TJR.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Fletcher's heel work was great. Like I like that he said Ospreay didn't come out when he called him out because he called Ospreay out when he's injured, right? But then Fletcher comes out because he's not a coward, trying to make him seem better than Ospreay. So I thought that's really good heel logic. But then I also he's like, oh, I'm not a coward, but if you do anything, my boys are in the back. Mm-hmm. So I really liked everything he did there.
And his heel logic too is you knew that I was capable of being better than you, and you kept me close to you and under your wing so that I couldn't reach, like you were putting a ceiling on me, basically.
I love all his heel logic because it makes perfect sense from that right point of view.
And then I also liked when Ospreay flips it because he's like, Fletcher was like, I'm just doing what you've done to everybody else, so I knew that I'm doing it before you. So then he's like, well, then you are like me, right? Like you're literally saying you stole the play from my playbook. So which is it? You're not me or you are me.
I like that, yeah.
Sort of thing, right? So, and I thought Ospreay's intensity was awesome. Like
I always love how you can switch it from like the kind of not happy-go-lucky, but that kind of babyface, and he'll switch it to that serious, confident side when he needs to.
And he was believable as like the betrayed friend here, right?
I agree. I thought he sold that really strong. And
Fletcher just keeps continuing to kind of grow on the mic, I think, as this year carries on. And they added some good heat to this. This match should be amazing. We now have a pretty strong build to it. I think this segment helped a lot. And it was, like I said, a pretty long segment, which I'm generally have issues with, but we were watching like the cool thing is, and I think the cool thing for both of them is we're watching like a young legend already in Ospreay elevate one of his real life friends, right? He's helping to, even though the story is he's always held, that's another cool layer, I guess. Even though the story is he's always held Fletcher back, while telling that story, he's actually elevating this kid.
So it was that.
Yeah.
I could
the cord fell.
No, I really like that aspect too. I like everything they're doing here. I really, really enjoyed this. I thought it was just strong all around, and it just felt like a real conversation between friends. And I like how Ospreay is calm and straightforward, but you could hear the hurt in his tone. I really like that. He portrayed it really well. I liked how Fletcher spun his words to make him seem self-centered, even if that's not really true. Again, the heel logic, it works. Both of them have their roles defined here, and they play them perfectly. Fletcher isn't right, but you can easily see how he may feel that way, or how Callis could make him feel that way.
Right. Callis has unlocked this whole, like, listen, man, this guy's been holding you back your whole life, and that you should
Fletcher,
be a bigger deal than him.
Fletcher, who's this hungry young guy, could easily be manipulated to feel that
Right.
way. So I like that, and it easily makes sense for me, which I like. 'Cause again, sometimes the motivations they come up with aren't great, but I think everything Fletcher said, it makes sense from that point of view. Also made a good point with Fletcher following his turn, but not wanting to be like him. He caught him good there, and I like that. Kind of got one up on Fletcher.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And Ospreay does a really good job of walking the line, how he operates as a babyface. Like, I liked him as a heel in like Forbidden Door when we watched him and just before he came to AEW, but I think his babyface work has been so good. The way he walks the line between kind of like the common collective, and then he's got some vulnerability, but then he just snaps in that confidence, and it works because he's so accomplished and well traveled.
And we always say, like, being a babyface is harder, I think.
It is, for
and
sure.
I think most
And
wrestlers
especially
have
one
said
that is
so.
just so likable, right?
Yeah, and not stupid. That's the thing.
I like that too, as I
WWE
mentioned
struggled for decades with, like, if you're a babyface, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Basically, right? So with the exception of like the major guys.
Yeah, even Cena was probably stupid at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
But like I really like that Ospreay looks smart here because he had backup ready, because like he literally said earlier he knows how Callis operates. So I thought that he would have been stupid to come alone, right? So I thought he looked smart for kind of having a counter to because Fletcher's like, oh, I got the upper hand, I got my boys here, and Ospreay's like, well, I got my boys. So I thought that worked out. I really liked when he got angry and fired up in the end, and I like his British slang. Like I love the way he talks and his voice. Like, he's got his own way about it, and I love it loads. Fletcher and Davis also shared a moment, so I can see the reunion coming. I think a win at Full Gear would do wonders for Fletcher. And to protect Ospreay, I say Davis turns on Ospreay, and we have Ozzy open.
It's another one that's not clear to pick, though, which is awesome.
I agree. I could see Ospreay getting his comeuppance, but I lean more towards the side of Fletcher because I think that's what should happen. I think this is about elevating Fletcher, and Ospreay will be fine if he loses. I think a win would be huge for Fletcher. It's his first pay-per-view singles match, and I think this would be big for him.
I think it maybe depends on how soon you plan on pulling the trigger on Ospreay you know what I mean?
I think, though, if you were to throw Ospreay in the C2 or something, like, he can get wins back and like he'll be fine. Like, I think Fletcher winning here would be pretty huge. And like I said, if you have Davis involved, that could somewhat protect Ospreay as well, if that's what we're concerned about. And granted, you could say Aussie Open would be a step back for Fletcher, but part of me doesn't care. I want Aussie Open to happen.
I don't think so at this point.
I don't think so, but I could see it happening for a bit. And I mean, get a tag title run that gets some gold on Fletcher. It could, like, no one says that that a tag run has to be a complete demotion. They could even bring up the division because Aussie Open's that damn good,
I guess.
But I thought then this also bled into the Roddy Archer match really well, so that was also really cool because the brawl, Archer's out there, he's got the match with Roddy coming up next, so that brings him out, and we go right into that match, which is for some reason false count anyway.
I like that too, how it flowed into the next.
Yeah, I'm less strong on the match, but the segue was good.
And my next note is it's too dark to see anything.
Yeah, there was like a table spot backstage we literally couldn't see in the darkness. Some table spot, I don't know. Commercial sounds play, but we're getting the full match picture, so I don't know. It was mostly crowd brawling.
And then the show came back, the match came back, but the commercial audio was still playing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it was just weird.
So it was off in a couple spots.
Matt Taven, the honorable babyface, helps Roddy gang up on Archer in the crowd. It's not even like the Callis family were helping Archer in a match where they could have. It was just they weren't here, but then the Undisputed Kingdom started like, let's gang up on this guy.
Yeah, exactly. What a nice thing to do.
Archer chokeslams Taven off a ledge in the crowd on some security guys. Archer gets crushed on said ledge, and then Roddy jumps over the ledge with a jumping knee strike to get the win. And after the match, he tells MJF this ends at Full Gear, he'll finish him. Takesha attacks Roddy. Cole's music hits. They brawl to start their match. So another really strong segue, which I thought was cool. But this was underwhelming. Did not need the stipulation at all. Absolute waste of a false count anywhere match. Not a lot happened, and mostly crowd brawling. Very odd choice. If it was like just a regular decent TV match between these two, I wouldn't have a problem because they're both decent.
Yeah,
Roddy's great. I just thought this was an odd call. But the bleed in the next match was really cool again.
You said underwhelming. I said I can't help but feel disappointed, right? Obviously, Roderick Strong's winning this, but was really quick. Nothing really happened, right? And we said this, I said this. Archer needs some rehabbing. This does not accomplish that. This is the opposite of that, right? So this is not a believable monster when he loses to, no offense, Roddy Strong, love Roddy Strong, loses to Roddy Strong in a plunder match in 6 minutes, right? So yes, I was disappointed by this, but I also like that it rolled right into the next thing. It's just different. If they do it all the time, it's going to be too much,
No,
right?
I think
but this is
the
useful.
way they did it this week made sense and it was kind of cool.
Yep.
I like to see it every now and then. Cole and Takeshita are brawling with Cole's music still playing. The pause is perfectly for Cole to do the boom and the Adam Cole Bebe, so I thought that was kind of cool. Really killer Ushi from Cole for 2.
Really good.
Which they will never call.
Almost filmed from a different angle than usual, I think. It looked cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Near botch, but Takeshita saves on pure strength and hits a Blue Thunder Bomb for 2.
Yeah,
I think
it
he
looked
almost
awesome.
dropped him or something, but like Takeshi's just a beast.
He is.
Strike exchange, Takeshita counter Panama Rise, and he does the bastard driver German suplex combo, followed by a big lariat for 2. Takeshita line got met with a super kick, which looked awesome.
Yep.
And Cole followed with a Panama Sunrise. Takeshita rolls out of the ring to avoid the last shot, grabs MJF's Dynamite ring from under the ring. There's a Furmo sign that says Don Callis wears a shirt when swinging.
Yeah, there was. You enjoyed that.
I love signs like that. They're my favorite. Takeshita hits a cheap shot with the ring behind the ref's back, and he picks up the win. Roddy attacks Takeshita after the match. Takeshita takes him with the forearm. Goes for a shot with the ring. Kyle O'Reilly comes up for the save. Ricochet takes it to Takeshita and holds up the belt again. I don't like that keeps happening. Like, just book the match and stop bitching out Takeshita.
How did you feel about him needing the ring to win?
I'll talk about that momentarily. Cole offers his hand to Kyle O'Reilly, but he leaves the ring, so they're teasing that, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
It was solid. I liked it, but I think there's a better match in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Considering how much I love
those
there
guys.
is,
yeah.
I liked it in some parts, and Takeshita still nailed some of his killer offense, but I think they could have done so much more. Finish was solid. I don't hate it. MJ's plan worked out, and I feel like a lot of times something like that would just backfire in his face so that the babyface could still get his big match. So I think I do kind of enjoy that they subverted expectations, because even last week I was saying, oh, it's a lock, we're getting the 3-way.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
So we're not. So I think that's kind of interesting.
I agree.
And I'm interested to see how it plays out, because on paper, MJ versus Roddy, well, A, should be sick in ring.
I said that as well in my notes.
B, is just an odd pay-per-view match, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, again, no complaints about it. It should be great.
Yeah.
But it just seems really odd. But so I think it's kind of cool this plan worked out. And honestly, I'm just relieved Takeshita didn't take a loss, because again, I was positive Takeshita was eating the loss here, so Cole could go to full gear. So I'm really happy Takeshita won. I wish it was clean, but I get it. MJF paid them off to do a job, and they did that job.
That's true.
So I think it's fine. Post-match stuff was interesting, and I'm really hoping the Undisputed Era reunion pans out, because love those boys. I mean, there's a lot of factions, but hear me out. If we just kick out the Kingdom, that's not adding a faction. That's just making an existing faction better.
That's true. Making the product better. Yeah, I didn't love he needed the ring to win, but it does within that story make sense. And Adam Cole's a bit cold for me right now.
It's because the story sucks.
It is. And I thought this match was better than the last one he had.
I still think the Buddy Murphy one was my favorite of the 3.
But it feels like this decision is prolonging this dud of an angle with Cole MJF, right? It's just going to take longer for Cole to chase him down, which isn't really what I want.
It'll be probably at World's End, is my guess. Or is there going to be some sort of swerve at Full Gear? I feel like there's something coming.
Maybe. But I do think you're right. Strong MJF should be good, and it's kind of interesting. And as well, Ricochet Takeshita is going to be awesome.
It's such an odd match to put on pay-per-view on paper, so I'm like, there has to be something happening.
You would think. And there seemed to be taking some time to try and do some character development for O'Reilly, which is nice.
Yeah, and I'd love for them to add Takeshita and Ricochet on there, because that'd be bananas.
Yeah.
Then we get Hurt Syndicate interview. MVP's putting over Lashley before Lashes speaks. He says he'll make an example out of Swerve and Hurt Swerve at Full Gear. And MVP says they'll be watching him later.
I just said that this went exactly as it should. MVP does the vast majority of talking. Lashley stands there looking super cool in a suit and says a couple things, right?
Yeah, he doesn't need to
MVP's
talk a
amazing
lot.
at speaking. Lashley's fine. So you split it appropriately, and they look cool.
Mm-hmm. Another solid promo. Their formula works, and I like it. MVP talking the most makes sense, like you said, but Lashes wasn't bad. I'm more so waiting to see how the match performs, but Swerve and Leo should be killer.
Yep.
Then we get the Death Riders. Yuta and Claudio come out. The entrance tunnel beating up JD Drake with a chair. Poor JD Drake's catching strays.
I like JD Drake too.
Yeah. Mox's music hits. They got that new Death Riders intro now, which sounds like the beginning of an old-timey film or something. I don't know. It's interesting. But then it's Mox's New Japan theme still. He enters through the crowd with Shafir. Mox grabs a mic. He says he's been thinking about Orange Cassidy a lot lately, and he's been playing the game well. He talks about Chuck drinking food through a straw because Cassidy couldn't save him, and Yuta follows Mox because Cassidy couldn't save him, but he carries on undeterred. I heard someone shout, I swear to God, go back to Roman.
See, I heard something so there's a couple screams of things.
Pretty funny. Mox says because of this, he has to make an example out of Cassie Full Gear, and he will do so. He will brutalize him and mutilate him so bad his mother won't recognize him. Anyone who wants to be somebody will see that and run and hide, and the Death Riders will continue to do whatever they want in AEW because they have the power, and he commands the AEW World Championship, which I thought was an interesting turn of phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Cassidy comes out flanked by Conglomeration Boys, Briscoe, and Rocky Romero. He says hello. He says he wanted to come out and let Mox know that he agrees with Mox that he can do what he said he will do because he holds the AEW title. He says it's the symbol that represents everyone here and everything pro wrestling can be. Cassie says the title is the power and they can fight wherever, but the only way to win it is by wrestling. And for someone who doesn't like to, he wrestles more than anyone here, which I thought was kind of a cool line. He reminds Mox he beat him last year and he says he will take the power back. He talks about playing chess and checkers and says there's still some pawns to take care of. And he talks to Yuta, saying next week he will take the pawn that allows him to take the king.
I'm not a pawn. You can
Yuta,
hear Yuta
quote,
getting mad.
I'm nobody's pawn, Claudio. Shut up.
That was so funny. Claudio immediately big brothers him, like, shut up. Yeah, it was great.
Mox says he can have Yuta, and it doesn't matter. He says at Full Gear he will send a message to anyone who thinks they want what he has. Abandon all hope. Death Riders leave through the crowd. They get ambushed by Darby and the Conglomeration system. Shafir gets Mox out there quickly, which I like that. She's doing a good job of like protecting him, getting out of danger quick. They leave him in the truck without Yuta. Then Darby jumps in and attacks Claudio. They brawl. Claudio starts swinging him and swings him into a garage door.
Like, probably the highlight of this segment for
awesome.
me was Claudio killing Darby.
Like, that's what I'm saying. They're just going to keep beating him so badly that they, like, basically beat him into hiding, and then he'll come out later.
Yeah, that could be the case for sure.
I would want it to happen. I think it'd be cool. Death Riders leave, and Yuta jumps in the back of the truck, and they get out of there.
Yeah, I thought Mox was a notch below where he usually is, but it's still good. I didn't love that they sold this as they're taking over TBS.
Yeah, I thought
they
that was
just
a dumb way to
threw a cameraman in the ring.
That was how I saw it advertised. I honestly, you could just said Death Riders or
a Death Riders segment.
I thought phrasing that made it sound kind of corny to me.
I didn't love that, and I still don't think we know exactly what Moxley wants, and I don't think we exactly know what Cassidy thinks he's saving AEW from. It's still kind of this nebulous thing, right?
I guess like
we don't like the way AEW is, and they've made reference to general complacency or whatever on the roster, but I don't feel like their actions demonstrate that yet.
I feel like them making everyone stand up is kind of what they're going at, but
and I guess if you are saying people are complacent, Cassidy is like the ultra laid back whatever guy,
and Mox is forcing him out of that. So like that's what I'm saying. Like he does have a point.
But I loved Claudio in this. Him big brothering Yuta and then just swinging Claudio into the garage, or Alan, sorry, was the highlight for me. So
I love that so much. I just look up and he's swinging him into a garage door. Like,
and I did put his head on Death Riders in my note this week. I just see it, Death Riders.
It's so stupid.
Extreme Death Riders.
I enjoyed this. Not as chaotic as Mox and company tend to be, but it's more pointed towards the Cassie feud. And so I figure we'll get like more chaos of them beating people up when Mox isn't like, when he doesn't have a clear challenger, you know what I mean? In between kind of the more poignant feuds. I enjoy Mox's promos that he always speaks as if it's something he has to do, and commentary make that point. I think on some level he wants to do this because he probably likes, like I said, this is the way he wants to do things. And Danielson got in the way with that, right?
Yes.
But I think I can buy that he's such an AEW guy that he feels it's necessary to restore AEW, and that he'd rather not have to. And now restore AEW is kind of nebulous if you're Michael Scott, but
yeah, right.
I don't know. I feel like it does work on some level. It's a little vague, but it works for me. And like I said, you were saying, Cassie is kind of the embodiment of that complacency and not really trying as much as you could to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
And so Mox kind of monopolizing the scene kind of forces those people to do that. So I think it does kind of make sense, depending on how you look at it. I thought Cassie really shone here. I liked his promo a lot. He maintained his calm demeanor, but I thought he spoke seriously, and I like when he does that for a change. He used some of the analogies Mox has used, like chess, and they did well in selling the prestige of the title. I like that they made him feel important as it should, and saying that, and it kind of sets up the fact now that whoever takes that from Mox will be able to shift the power dynamic back, which I think will be Darby.
Right.
But I think them kind of phrasing it as a means of power in this story kind of sets up the fact that whoever can take it will be able to shift the tide back in restore AEW.
Very WCW NWO.
So I kind of like that. Yeah, which is
it's an homage for sure. At least I would say.
And it's good or bad.
Yeah,
depends on how they do it.
That's right.
It won't be Cassie, but I do like that setup because again, then I think it'll make Darby's win feel a lot more important, which is really what I'm hoping for. Out of
I think that's where we're going.
I like the little bits of Claudia and you as well because they're just gems. They're the hidden gems of this story. And Darby getting swung in the door was just ridiculous.
It was.
Then we get a learning tree interview. Gross. Big Bill says something dumb. Jericho talks about his history with Ishii. Mentions Jay Briscoe again. Accepts Ishii's for a challenge. They're gonna face off in 2 weeks. And also the C2 will be getting yay.
My notes say two things. Second-rate act from a second-rate show, ROH, and more invoking Jay Briscoe. So this is still...
It was fine. I have no interest whatsoever. Mention Jay again. Ishii's not winning. At least the C2 is in 2 weeks as well, so I can't wait for that. But then I'll have to watch Jericho wrestle. So
yep.
Then we get Britt Baker versus Penelope.
Yeah, Penelope.
Sling Blade from Baker was the first thing I wrote down because there wasn't a lot before that. Ford hits her back handspring elbow in the corner, followed by a corner boot. Ripcord rolling elbow from Baker. Ford does her Matrix card, didn't get all of it, but got a 2 count. Super kick and a fisherman's neck breaker from Baker. Ford got Baker in the Muda lock, but Baker counters and gets Ford in the lockjaw for the win. Then Serena Deeb comes out and I guess they're gonna feud now. On paper, that sounds great.
So Baker's a babyface, right?
Yeah, she has been.
Yeah, I perfectly fine match. Nothing more. I thought Ford got a lot.
I thought it was odd she got more on this than the match they built up with Hayter.
Right, and she's not bad. But
she got more on that. It was Hayter who didn't get a lot, right?
No,
then she
thought.
Never mind, I misspoke.
I think Ford got most of this one too, and she wasn't going to win it. But anyways,
which is weird because I don't think she's horrible, but she's not that great.
No. And we talked about it. They had a star in Baker, and so maybe they're trying to rebuild that a little bit here, and this gets her some momentum.
I got no complaints about Baker versus Deeb as long as they do it well.
And I feel like it's Britt winning that and carrying on, right? Because Deeb is just kind of...
And we have a heel champion, so I feel like that always diminishes the chances of Deeb moving up right now.
Yeah.
And
Deeb could join Death Riders.
Yeah. Even the mid-card belt, Meneza heals well, so, can't really...
No.
Can't really do nothing. This was fine, though. I really don't have much to say. We get Mina Shirakawa interview after. She's excited for May's match against Anna Jay on Collision. She is the only one. They're going to celebrate with champagne after. Harley Cameron comes in. She said a lot of things. They were shimmying at the end.
They were shimmying at the end, yes.
I don't understand how Harley's so bad at everything. She tries but she
really
just
hard.
Sucks so bad.
And I think that's that's a.
I think she's honestly trying too hard sometimes.
That's the backhanded compliment. She tries really hard, which is you saying she doesn't do very well.
It's so annoying. She's not good in the ring. She just sucks at everything so much.
But Mia is pretty cool. She has Mina. She has some charisma for sure.
She's interesting.
Yeah.
But I just hate Harley so much. She's just
You're not
horrible.
A fan.
And she's affiliated with Saraya, so I rest my case.
Right.
Then we get Swerve Strickland versus Leo Rush. Then we got the spot where Rush backflips off the apron and lands on his feet, and simultaneously Swerve does that flip over the ropes.
Yeah, that looked really well executed.
It was really well timed and well executed. House call on the apron. Rush with some evasion tactics, then a standing Spanish fly for 2. Poison run off the steps, followed by a suicide dive from Rush. He connected with the final hour for 2 again, which is that split-legged frog splash kind of.
Yeah.
Which I always thought looked cool.
It does. He does it well. Mm-hmm. Although it's a tough act to follow after seeing Javon Evans hit a frog splash on NXT.
Montez Ford been real quiet lately.
Yeah, that's right.
Swerve blocked a poison run this time, and he muscles him in the JML jar, which I thought was a really cool finish.
Yeah.
So I like that. And he says, now that he's back, everyone wants to use his name to make a point and make their name off of his. He says Rush and Shelton tried and failed, and he has to remind everyone whose house this is. He says Full Gear is a week away from Saturday, or I guess when this releases.
Mm-hmm.
But he feels like a fight tonight. He calls out Lashley. MVP and Lashley come out. MVP says if Swerve wants a match with one of them, he just needs to ask, and he'll say it up. MVP says they like Swerve, and that's what they want. And he says Lashley's ready for a fight, so they don't have to wait 2 weeks, but they have to teach him a lesson, and he hasn't learned that there's strength in numbers. Shelton with the attack from behind. They beat him, Swerve around ringside, then throw him in the ring. MVP's holding on it back as Lashley hits Swerve with a spine buster and again makes him pass out in the Hurt Lock.
Mm-hmm.
The full Nelson.
I thought this was a pretty awesome match, actually. I think Leo is one of my favorite at like.
He's one of my favorite ones that they sprinkle on TV.
You're never going to really win, but I know I'm going to get an entertaining match, right? Because he's just really unique. He's different than pretty much everybody. And he and Swerve, I thought, worked really well together. I thought really good TV match. The Hurt Syndicate stuff afterward was good, but I still liked when they were doing the whole, like, they're not doing that for free. You know what I mean?
Which is why they didn't have the match there, but they just decided to beat up Swerve anyways.
So I guess that's so that they win, softening them up so that when you win, you get more money, I guess. But I kind of like the whole, like, we don't do stuff unless we're getting paid to do it. So yeah, we're heels, but we're not attacking you and stuff. But anyways, they did, and it was fine. Sorry, I stopped. I shouldn't have stopped talking. That's poor podcast co-hosting. I see you're chewing something, and I stopped my sentence.
You suck.
But then I vamped for a 30 seconds to let you chew.
Bad air.
Yep.
I thought it was a pretty good team match. I enjoyed it. Another spotlight from Rush, and Swerve gets a quality win. Rush, I feel like, has shown. I'm trying really hard to pronounce his name.
I know. When you see it
so
in
hard.
your notes,
Which is why in
not
the
Roosh.
Hurt Syndicate segment earlier, I wrote Swerve versus Leo because I exactly thought I was gonna screw it up. But he's shown some interest in the Hurt Syndicate with the business card. I noticed some heelish tendencies here. So I wonder if they're teasing him joining them since he was one of the people to receive a card. He does have history with Lashley, which I kind of forgot about until I was thinking about it. But he was the hype man, right?
Yeah.
Remember when Lashley
the butt shaking thing?
Not butt shaking. You just bend over and point at it.
Right.
Hold on,
Right. That was Leo Rush.
I'll edit my display right now.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It won't stand. But anyways.
It was a sad day.
Anyways. And I think it'd be a different style of wrestler to add to their ranks. So I think it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sheldon's kind of amateur wrestling. He hits hard, like kind of striker, but amateur wrestling suplex guy. Lashley's like over the top powerhouse kind of stuff. And then Rush would be like the antithesis.
And Rush can do the wearing a suit, sunglasses look too. Like apparently on social media, I can
picture him being a really good slimy heel.
Apparently part of MVP's social media is just sending people tweets that say like, do you own a suit or do you got a suit or something? Which I think is pretty awesome if that's funny. The case.
I would honestly get Twitter just to watch that, but I won't because I'm not weird.
Yeah.
And it gives him prominence as I've been enjoying his in-ring spotlights lately, and I can't imagine he'll go high, pun intended, affiliating with Action and Charity and Top Flight. Maybe a bold statement, but I don't think so.
No.
So I feel like it'd serve him well to be the fourth man. They were kind of talking about how like they're looking for the fourth man.
They are.
So I can see that happening. He just stood by and watched the post match, so he's not looking to work with Swerve clearly.
No.
And so I could see him getting involved with Full Gear. Yes, I would put my predictions at getting him and Davis interfering in matches, but as long as you don't book him back to back, William Washington. Beatdown stuff with Solid Syndicate continue to look good. I enjoy them.
Yep, they're cool.
Jamie interview, she said she's back to right some wrongs, which she's done some, but she's not done. She's coming after one thing. Then let's cut and we get Julia Hart vignette. She's in a dark room with blood on her shirt in the shape of like a heart, or where your heart would be. And she said she didn't know where she was. She gets a phone call. It's Brody King telling her to come home. She gets handed her hat from a closet. I don't know if she's coming out of the closet. I don't. This was odd. I wasn't expecting this to cut off and switch to Julia Hart. Hater needs some direction. She needs to be treated like a bigger deal, and I assume the placement of Hart's vignette signifies a feud between them, which is fine, but it doesn't feel like the significance I'm looking for. And I was talking about, like, last she was here before her return, she was affiliated with Baker. Baker is on the show. We have had zero mention of their history together. Where is that?
Yeah, that's
they
true.
They were a unit.
Yeah.
Them and Reba.
Yeah, and Reba. First of all, why isn't Hater cool anymore? It's starting to bug me because she was really cool before.
She looks weird. I don't know.
It's just general something. Like I don't know. And then this stuff with Julia Hart, because I watched the vignette from Collision as well, which I think was the first piece of this, the dream she had, I think, right? So am I wrong? When she left, she was dark, evil. So
she had remember she recruited Sky Blue.
So getting injured made her a baby face while she was away from AEW, and then
that's the Blacker kind of baby facing.
So it's kind of like you're doing all this cool legwork, but it's to bring her back as the same thing as we saw her last.
I don't understand.
Right?
or she's like
I'm
dreaming
not
about
wrong.
being different. I'm not really paying attention, and I don't really care about her. So,
But she left as a member of House of Black, and she's gonna come back as a member of House of Black. So, like, the stuff looks cool and whatever and artsy and stuff, but I'm just like, at the end of the day, this is how we last knew her. So you're selling me this big, she's going from sweet, nice Julia, but we never saw that.
yeah, I don't know.
Unless there was some internet
Maybe I missed
stuff.
that in the collision one because I don't even know.
Well, she had this dream, and she was in like she's cheerleading in a football stadium, but then the House of Black version of her is like up in the stands. So I think that's
her like old
that's
life.
the dream she referred to in this one. But again,
remember she was Varsity Blondes.
Yeah, I know that. That was her two characters. But again, it's like, last we saw you, and for the longest time, and for the most successful, prominent time, you were the character that we're supposed to think this is a big deal you're turning into.
I think it's more so acknowledging her history. Like I don't know if it's trying to imply that like.
But she gets up out of bed as like babyface Julia Hart, and then gets handed her evil suit to turn back into.
Redawning.
Anyways, like, cool, stylish, but I don't know if it makes sense. Maybe it does, and I'm just
maybe you're looking
dumb.
too much into it.
Maybe.
Honestly, I don't care enough to even really bother. We get FTR versus Kings of the Black Throne in the Full Gear 4-Way Contender Series. It'll look weird in like if we were to go back through the Dynamite notes because it's the only one of these matches on Dynamite. Outrunners already beat Top Flight, and then LFI and Acclaimed are tomorrow, or as of this release, it'll be tonight.
Right.
I guess. But this should be sweet. I love both these teams. And Private Party are up on the stage in their VIP lounge.
That's right. Drinking champagne, I think.
I enjoy their theme song, actually. I finally found it on iTunes because it wasn't there for a bit. And initially,
Happy Day.
I wasn't sure if I liked it better than the Shots one because I did really like that one.
That one's fun.
I do think this one kind of works too. So honestly, I feel like either one works. I'm good with either one. There was a big back body drop to Cash from Brody King. On the floor, Black ducks a lariat from Dax and then gets caught by one from Cash, and then they mock the cross-legged sit, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Then Brody King hot tag flurry. Like we come up from commercial break, and it's like FTR work, and not even heel, but just like the face in peril is Malachi, and I'm like, what?
I know. It was a little bit confusing.
Because like I know they've been kind of being good people lately, but
yeah,
still very strange to me. Double cannonball from King as they're both stacked up in there and pins Cash for 2. Another cannonball on the show. Mm-hmm.
Will Washington.
Will Washington.
Last week was like 6 brainbusters, I think, or something too. Honestly.
He holds King up for Cash does a stunner flip, and he's holding King in a powerbomb for a little bit there. Yeah, so that was pretty impressive.
It was.
Then we get a powerbomb lariat combo from FTR for 2. King pops Dax up into a knee from Black, followed by a sit-out spinebuster for 2. As Black takes Cash out with the moonsault to the outside, but you just kind of like see him in the back of the frame moonsault, and like
that
he kind of
cool.
disappears. I thought it was
and you don't even see where the moonsault really ends, but it looked.
He just kind of moonsaults out of frame.
It made it look kind of like frantic, or I don't know.
I liked
it. Looks cool.
I just like that they didn't cut away from anything to do it, but you still caught it. FTR counter Dante's Inferno, nail smash contraption to King for 2. Black pulled Dax off the pin. FTR with a spike pile driver on the apron of Black, which is pretty killer. Then King takes out both FTR with a suicide dive. King keeps smashing Dax with lariats, which get multiple 2 counts. Then he just straight up puts him in a sleeper, and Dax is out.
Yeah.
Quick like that, which surprised me.
It's believable because Brody King is a monster, and I thought he looked really good in this. I thought this was a very good tag team match. House of Black looked good. FTR, like, I thought it showcased House of Black a bit more, and FTR play whatever role you kind of need them to, right? So I thought they were good here too. And yeah, is this like House of Black are baby faces now? And I also thought it was interesting, like Brother Zay, it was almost like he was mic'd up, right? You could his whatever.
I did kind of enjoy that.
Was really, really noticeable throughout this. So yeah, I thought there was stakes to this match, and it was really good, as you would expect from these two teams. So
I quite enjoyed this. I love me a quality tag match, and this was exactly that. Only other thing I noticed is when we were building to a hot tag for House of Black and not FTR, I thought that was just really odd. And I think it's weird, but regardless if we're going to babyface them, I feel like you should put them against a heel team to make it more evident and make the hot tag make a little more sense.
Yeah.
Now, in-ring wise, got no complaints with it being FTR because they're awesome, but I'm just saying more so for the dynamic.
And FTR are so non-existent right now on Dynamite. Like they're kind of like tofu. It's like
but
if
that's
you need
okay
them to be a
because
heel here,
the whole
then
thing is
fine.
that they've kind of been in the scene a lot, so kind of keeping them a little away
Yeah.
is fine. And I'll kind of touch on that in a second. Black is sick, Brody's a beast, so I thought they looked good. FTR never slacks, so I really like this. And I wasn't expecting the outcome at all, so I'm pleasantly surprised. And
I wasn't sure.
I was pretty positive it'd be FTR. Like House of Black never get a lot of stock in them, especially even more so in the tag division. Because you could argue they had trios title run, and they do some group matches. And I was like,
and Malachi's on his way out of the company. Just kidding, Malachi. Like, don't get mad at us now.
Yeah. But so I like it because Outrunners are already in the 4 so they already subverted expectations there because never would have called that. And so I think this bodes well for LFI. If they're the ones who don't get in, I'll be pissed because give Taurus and Roosh their due. That would be killer to put them in there because I think it's not Realistico that's in the match. But I'm happy with this because as it kind of makes the tag division feel fresh. And while I thought it would be nice to give Private Party like a feud to build in their first title defense, I'm also okay with them giving them like a big multi-team challenge to start their reign off and kind of give them some odds to overcome, right? And as it seems like what they're doing, I think it's a smart way to showcase the tag division is capable of being more. The champs are Private Party instead of the Bucks. Like, it's always the Bucks. Now it's Private Party. Outrunners are a different kind of act. And Top Flight, while they never gotten like major push behind them, they've been around for a while, right? So Outrunners are something different.
When they're healthy.
Right. House of Black and they never really got pushed in any tag format, opposed to we got the perennial challengers and former 2-time champs FTR. So House of Black are fresh in the title scene too. And then hopefully, if everything goes to plan,
that's true.
LFI are fresh blood, especially because it's a new version of LFI.
Yeah.
That's fresh blood in the tag division compared to the Acclaim. So I think like the tag division complaints have been more than valid, but I feel like it kind of seems like they're using this match to kind of showcase that there is some more depth and that there is fresh blood worth putting stock into. So I kind of like this.
Anything to and you're getting, they're basically saying, hey, here's 4 prominent tag teams we have at least,
and that are different from the ones that we've been using, because like the all-in match was the 3 main ones we've had for a while, which is Acclaimed, Bucks, and FTR, right? Especially Bucks and FTR, because if you're not Bucks,
FTR, Lucha Bros, you're new.
Lucha Bros, right? If they were still around, I feel like that would be another one. But I like this because even when we were predicting, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Top Flight and FTR and Acclaimed, and so far they've subverted my expectations both times. So that's why I'm really hopeful for LFI because this is shaking a lot different than I expected, which I like because again, that shows the tag division is more, and that hopefully they're seemingly trying with it. So I'm really happy with the result here, and I thought the match was really strong too. Private Party have to win, but the match is turning out well too. And I think
could be really fun.
I feel like Outrunners have to take the fall there, which kind of sucks because they're hot, but like
if LFI get in, I could see that too.
But either way, I like where that's going for sure.
Overall, I thought a pretty good show, right? Like the opening tag match was good. I liked Rush. I almost said Roosh right there too. I liked Rush and Swerve. I enjoyed a lot. The segment of the night was obviously, I think, Ospreay, right? And Fletcher in the ring. And so, I don't know, the overall vibe of this, I kind of went with a B. I thought it was good. I feel like you're going to go B+, and I think that might be justified, but not quite an A show for me. And like good stuff throughout, but nothing that I was like, you have to go watch this. I would say watch the Fletcher segment.
I would definitely say watch that. He's doing some great work.
And matches were good, but nothing outstanding.
Yeah. I'd watch the main event if anything. Overall solid show. I thought the matches were mixed quality, but we had some good ones. Opener was strong for the feud I enjoy. Ironically, Strong's match was not strong. I thought that was lame. Cole Takeshita was good, but there's a great match in there, but I'm thankful for the result still. Women's match is okay. Swerve and Rush was quite enjoyable. I like that, and I thought the main event was really good as well, with a surprising but welcome result. Segments also ran the gambit. Monet Stylander was lame. The wall spot, and that feud just hasn't clicked for me. Like I still don't understand why they're feuding. Opposite for Fletcher and Ospreay, I thought their segment was awesome, and I really like everything they've done with that feud. I think it's been well done, and Fletcher is awesome. Hurt Syndicate were always cool. Death Riders Cassie bit I thought was also another strong promo, and Cassie was really good. Jericho sucked. Meanest thing sucked because of Harley. Hater Heart thing was odd. I think it was a solid show. Need another good match to bump it up, so I'm also going to go with a B.
Yeah, okay. I thought you might go a little bit higher than me.
Sometimes
but so I found it. Aminata posted a picture of her MVP Shelton and said something about just going to leave this here. And then MVP replied, "Do you own a suit?" to Aminata.
Nice.
So that's cool. All right, so that wraps up our AEW review. We'll take a break from the wrestling talk to go into some wrestling trivia segment we call Off the Top of His Head. All right, I feel like there's a chance we've done this before, but I really don't know, and it would have been updated by now anyway. So even though I don't love the guy, he is the master of, or the most well-known rating guy of anything. So I thought we'd look at some of Meltzer's highest rated matches to see. I took the top 15. Now the source I use doesn't give the exact score. It'll just say it might say 7+. There's one that's 7+, for example. Do you know what that one would be?
I feel like it's Omega and Okada.
From which one?
Dominion.
And what type of match?
2 or 3 falls.
That's the one.
I watched most of it. I never went back to finish it.
So you got that one, and so don't rapid fire them because I have to delete them from the list so it gets more manageable for me to see them. Now I will tell you. Actually, I'm going to undo that for a second because I thought a couple interesting things. One, out of the top 15, this is bonus stuff. How many involve Will Ospreay? You think
11.
You're going to say 11?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to count in real time. This is great. This is great podcasting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8, I'm seeing 9, I think. I think it's 9. And then, so just maybe Meltzer has a recency bias because out of the 15, 1 is from 1989. Care to guess?
Oh, what year would that? What Mania would that be?
From NWA.
Oh, like Steamboat Flair.
Right. Okay, so Steamboat Flair. The next oldest one, so that's 1989. The next oldest, the one will be from 2017. So it's all from 2000. The 14 of his top 15 matches are from 2017 and beyond. Okay, so you got Omega Okada, and you got Flair, and what's his face?
Dick
Steamboat.
Yeah.
So anything else you would care to guess? Give me the event if you can, and the year, and the people.
So highest rated.
In any order.
One of them, I think, isn't Ospreay Omega Wrestle Kingdom, I think, last year?
2023, that is correct. That is 6+ stars.
Yeah, because I knew that one was rated higher than the one that we like.
The top rated one was 7+, and I forget what they had Flair Steamboat, and I deleted it, and I can't go back. Well, I can, but I won't. Carry on. That's a good guess. Do you want me to give you pay-per-views? That narrow it down? AEW Dynasty 2024.
Danielson Ospreay.
Correct. 6+ stars.
Okay. Well,
6.5. It does have the full.
I could just nail it a bunch of Ospreay matches. I feel like Ospreay Swerve is pretty high, but I don't remember how high it was.
Ospreay Swerve. I don't think it made it. Next one will go New Japan Dominion 2017. May have already talked about these two having a match.
Omega Okada.
Yeah, Omega Okada again.
Jesus.
One from Rev Pro.
Ospreay and Ricochet?
No, Ospreay and somebody
Oku.
not Oku, correct. From 2024, right? Pretty recent one.
I remember hearing about that.
G1 Climax 2023.
Ospreay
and someone I'm not a big fan of.
Okada? Naito.
Nope. Yeah, immediately. 6+ stars there.
Naito was going to be my first guess, but I thought it'd be someone better.
Forbidden Door 2023.
Oh, Ospreay Omega?
Yes, might have been there for that one.
I wasn't sure if that one would be there or not, because I know it was a 5-star, but I don't remember how high it was.
6.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Good luck. Wrestling Dontaku 2021. Guess one guy.
Ospreay.
Correct. Guy I like that moved up from junior heavyweight.
Takagi?
Yep, Takagi. Shingo.
I could never picture him as a junior heavyweight.
AEW Revolution 2020. Yeah, Shingo got big.
Match,
he's not very tall.
Bucks,
correct.
Omega.
Correct.
I can't find that match again.
It's a good match.
I want to watch that again.
6 stars.
It's like one of the best tag matches ever. I think it was regarded as the greatest tag match of all time.
You've already talked about these two twice. It's a third match.
Omega and Okada.
Correct.
Jeez, I wonder what he likes.
Climax 2017. 6 stars.
Was that the climax? I think that was the climax that Omega won.
Run that back one more time.
Again?
Wrestle Kingdom 11.
How many matches? Jeez.
I think that's 4 for them in here.
That's ridiculous.
3 left. Dynamite number 250, 2024.
Oh, MJF Ospreay.
Right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
5.75 stars. AEW Revolution 2024.
Takeshita Ospreay.
Yep.
Yeah, my boy.
5.75 stars.
Takeshita's my boy, not Ospreay.
Final one also got 5 3/4. New Japan Junior Tag League Power Struggle 2023. Take a guess. New Japan. Ospreay. And I was surprised by that. I like the guy. One of the young ones that we think might ascend to be a big... No. But in that...
Oh, Umino.
Correct.
That was a good match.
Yeah, it was.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I remember watching that and we both really liked it. I just couldn't tell you what show it was.
Yeah. It was a very good match.
That was really good.
All right, pretty good stuff there. But isn't that interesting? Like, they're all from 2017 on. So the last 8 years have had the 14 best matches of all time, according to that guy. But his bias is clearly New Japan, AEW, Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
Right? But
I would disagree because, like, on some... I think some of those are great, but, like, some of the NXT matches, like, I know you'll say Gargano Andrade.
I will.
For me, Gargano Cole, the 2 or 3 Falls match, the one where Gargano wins the title, that match is probably one of my best matches of all time, in my opinion. Or I know it was only 5 stars. I think the Cole Gargano one I mentioned, I want to say Andrade was too, but I don't know. I know the Cole Gargano one was, and I know the North American ladder match was. But that's also one of my favorite matches of all time is that North American ladder match. You know,
yes,
they've done multiple, but when I say the North American ladder match, you know which one I'm talking about. The first one. 6
years ago, Meltzer calls Almas versus Gargano the best match of all time.
Well, I guess not.
Yeah, not anymore. Because
that was before like the Omega Okada match. That was before the Truth or False one.
Like we talked about, if he said that an infinite rating is possible, all these matches could be terrible then. At some
Omega and Okada suck.
At some point when he has a 700-star match,
Omega will be left in the
terrible.
Dust. I'm honestly surprised there's not more Omega, but I feel like it's Omega Okada, and that's
there's all like 4 of them in there.
So maybe everyone
between Omega, Okada, Ospreay, it's like that's pretty much
your list.
Yeah,
I'm glad Takeshita got one though.
Me too, and I think Gunther might deserve some. Dragunov.
Gunther Dragunov is also.
If that's 5 3/4.
That's also one of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah.
If I had to make a top 10, I feel like it would deserve to be there because that's like the only NXT UK match I feel like that merits being there.
Yeah, it does. Okay, good job on the trivia. It's kind of fun. We'll now go back into whatever we thought was notable from this week of wrestling. We call it Highspots and Restholds. Okay, so starting with Raw, I don't know, chime in with whatever you saw or heard about or read. So it started out, I told you, with Gunther and Priest in ring, and it annoyed me. Why?
Gunther dumb.
Just because, okay, so I think Priest is fine and good and whatever. I don't believe him as your main champion, and Gunther's been so great as this super confident heel who can back it up. And so basically, I guess maybe the story is he lost to Cody as he has to because Cody's Cody, and maybe he's losing confidence and he's kind of worried about Damian Priest, and it bugs me a little bit
because he didn't full on beat him.
I guess, yeah, right. He beat him with assistance or whatever it was.
Because remember the Balor turn,
right? And so Kaiser tries to defend Gunther at one point. He ends up getting attacked and taken out by Priest as Gunther kind of retreats. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love this change in Gunther, who's gone from being fearless and whatever and taking on anybody to now like nervous about Damian Priest. And I also think, as a side note, Kaiser deserves more than to just be a lackey to somebody. So they may, I think he deserves a shot on his own.
It's weird because I do think he should split from Gunther, but I don't think he should turn babyface. So it's like, I don't know how
I don't. I 100% agree with you. So I don't know how you get
maybe
there.
That's where the struggle lies.
I think so, maybe. You saw Dakota Kai is back?
Yeah.
And did you see how they had a return?
No, I did see she was in the match.
She just sidled up to Damage Control in a backstage. So,
I don't know if the draft is soon, but maybe that's how you split Kaiser. Sorry, I was just thinking about that.
You could. That's true.
I don't know when it is.
I don't think that's a ringing endorsement for someone when they have you come back from injury.
Or in that group, for the group in general, but especially for Kai, which sucks because I like her.
So she is back. Then Kofi's backstage apologizing to R-Truth for not helping him last week when Woods talked him into not going back to... Who was beating him down? Final Testament? Somebody
I don't even know. It wasn't done.
So Woods shows up. Interesting choice. In a Baron Corbin t-shirt.
Huh.
Yeah, he had the burn the ships thing on. So he wants to know what they're talking about. Pete Dunne then shows up to complain about Truth calling him Butch, of course. Truth acts like he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then Kofi kind of interjects and gets in Dunne's face, and that's going to set up a match for later while Woods left frustrated. And that's the third of 4 lights to... Apparently the charge lasts a very similar time. Sorry.
I'll just avoid that.
Pete Dunne being used as a tool in the New Day implosion angle, but at least he's getting used, right?
This is good.
And I'll just jump to it here. He won the match with Kofi after Woods interfered on the floor. Kofi kind of confronted him. Even commentators like, I don't know if Kofi saw it. Kofi did, and he's like, why are you doing that? And so he gets back in the ring, kick, bitter end, and it's over. Match was fine, and then after the match, Woods tells Kofi, there's no reason for you to be in this match at all. Kofi ends up shoving Woods back. Woods, you can hear him telling Kofi to focus and said he wasn't focusing in the ring. And obviously, this is all coming ahead. You said to ahead for their 100th or the 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary. I want to say it's next week. I don't know, but my call is that they're like kind of on the verge of splitting. Big E comes back.
I think that makes... You mentioned that last week, I think. And that makes a lot of sense.
I mentioned it off air. I think it was this week.
Yeah.
It was after you were talking about this to me, but I think Big E comes back, and whether he's able to wrestle or not, I think
not, but it doesn't matter.
Together. No, it doesn't matter. But I think it would imagine the pop if he is able to wrestle. That'd be crazy.
I think the pop for him, period. And the fact that he can be the unifying force for them, right?
Yeah, I like that. And they kind of...
Because I don't feel like you're breaking them up.
I think breaking them up on their 10-year would be so odd. It would be such a Vince move.
Yeah, that would. He's still got some control.
The Thief of Joy.
Balor and Dom are having some issues.
Comparison is the Thief of Joy? No, it's Vince McMahon.
That's right. Balor and Dom having some issues backstage.
I did see that.
Dom saying stuff like, I've been closer to a major title than you have in a while. Fair, right? And then all of a sudden...
The unfortunate truth.
Balor, I get this too. Balor is like, well, why don't, we're such a happy family. Why don't you do me a favor? Or if you're so great, you and Carlito have a match with the War Raiders.
At first I thought it was them. I think someone phrases them defending the belts for JD and Balor, which
no,
you can't, because they haven't established the Freebird rules thing. And why would you trust them with that?
I think it's Balor going.
I think it's just a match, right? But like,
and Balor's like, either you soften them up for me, or you get your ass kicked because you're being a knob to me.
Yeah.
Right. So, but Dom's like, okay, and he just goes to get the mat. Like all of a sudden, and then Balor's like, one big happy family, and Carlito does not really want the match, obviously.
Because Carlito's not entirely stupid.
He's
I saw someone say like, that Dom, Raquel, and Liv are super interesting, but then whenever it's Judgment Day, it's boring.
Dom, Raquel, and Liv. I don't even think they're that interesting anymore.
I feel like it's more so.
I think Dom did a good job with the character in this segment, but Reed and Rollins brawled some more, right? Reed had a promo in the ring, interrupted by Rollins.
I meant to do a SmackDown check. I saw a segment where Roman's calling up Heyman.
Oh yeah.
After they got their asses beat.
Rollins later demands one more match against Reed. Pierce agrees to it, and it's next week. They're not saving it for anything. I was a little surprised.
It's interesting because Reed is the 5th man, it seems.
Right. And yeah, because he's doing a great job, so I'm happy there.
Dragon Lee's a speed champion.
Oh, congrats to him. Sami Zayn tries to recruit Seth for War Games, right? But Seth wants nothing to do with Roman Reigns, so it's a hard no. And he kind of warns Sami that Reigns is likely using him again. And we were talking about this, I think, just before we were recording. At least this War Games, or was it on this episode already?
No,
feels warranted.
I think it was before.
Like, this is a lengthy feud with a lot of history, and it should culminate in a War Games.
It feels like it would culminate in a match here anyways, given the timing. It doesn't feel manufactured for War Games.
Right.
And even like, because even I think it was last year where it was Judgment Day and McIntyre against, it was like Cody and his crew or whatever. That was like... a feud, but it felt kind of manufactured for War Games. But at least it was putting some effort into it, and the women's match was with Damage Control against a bunch of people. But this year, the women's match is just a bunch of
and it glaring by comparison, right? This one feels like, yes, this has been a couple year long situation that is coming to a head in War Games, and the women, it's like, who we got in the back that people really like? Okay, you're the babyface team, and yeah.
So and while we're talking about it, I don't really have any specific notes for the Bloodline for SmackDown. But I was saying to you that just having the OGs back inherently makes me more interested. Like,
oh yeah,
not like it's appointment viewing for me, but I'm at least kind of paying attention to the segments I see pop up on my social media feeds, and like it is more interesting with them around, and
definitely
it's definitely better.
Damian Priest surprisingly won that match with Kaiser in 8 minutes. Shocking.
What?
Clothesline South of Heaven for the win. And again, I think Kaiser deserves better.
For sure.
He's kind of like a rehab win here for Damian Priest, right? Braun and Sheamus, we are told, had a 3-minute draw on Speed. And
Braun
Breaker.
On Speed?
Yeah. They wrestled to a 3-minute draw on Speed.
Gross.
So they're springboarding from that into an IC title match for... and Sheamus...
Because they couldn't go through.
I think it was Braun was insulting...
I knew they had a match next week. I didn't know this was the reason.
Braun was insulting to Sheamus. Sheamus said a whole bunch of stuff, and Braun was just something like, really flippantly like, I wasn't listening to any of that. It was kind of funny. I can't remember how he said it. But anyways, so Sheamus wants the title match. Braun obliges. Sheamus leaves. Jimmy Uso walks up to Braun, saying that he wanted to talk to him, I guess sort of teasing their recruiting Braun now.
I don't think that's what it is.
No?
Now, I could see it because...
What else is it?
Remember Heyman managed him on that one episode of NXT last year where they decided to superload everything?
Yes.
So that's the connection for people. My personal take, and I don't think it's overly likely, but since the Solo and that Bloodline, the whole saga, that ended up costing Jay the title match against Braun. Jamie's going to finagle his way to get Jay a title match to kind of as a make good.
Okay,
I could see it going that way.
Yeah, that could be true.
I could also see the Bloodline thing, like you're saying, but for me, that pick doesn't make a huge amount of sense. And now with Bronson seemingly being the Timu fifth man, I feel like there's a chance we work Rollins into War Games, and you're telling the story with Roman and Rollins, opposed to just bringing in Breaker because he worked with Heyman once.
You're right. The Reed going on one side makes it much more likely Rollins goes on the other.
And for me, it's just the fact that like I do like the connection, but he worked with Heyman once on a one-off.
Right.
Although now, because at the end, Roman of SmackDown, Roman's like saying he's going to call the wise man. So that would make me wonder how Rollins factors in. So that now sows doubt for me. I'm not really sure what's going, but I'm not overly thrilled with the Breaker thing, especially because he's supposed to be a heel. So again, it doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
You saw the Miz stuff?
Yeah.
So he was kidnapped by the Wyatt Six and like mouth taped, and
but then he promised to change his ways, so he just got let go.
So apparently they let him go, and he is backstage, and he's going to request a leave of absence because he's so rattled by this experience. And Cross and Final Testament get to him and are like, so then we told you if you didn't lead us to the Wyatts, we're going to break your leg. So they start dragging him to and I think Miz got busted open somehow in this.
He had a bloody eye. I saw it. It reminded me of Apollo Crews.
And, right. And
I'll never let you live that down.
So he gets to the ring, and Wyatt Six show up, right? And surprise, Miz Swerve starts beating on them with the chair. He's with Final Testament, and they celebrate afterwards. They beat down the Wyatt Six like they haven't been beaten down before. And I was going to say Bray, but it's Howdy is like smiling in defiance as it ends, right? So I don't know, man. The whole Miz stuff seems kind of...
Just seems so convoluted. Why did you have to let him get kidnapped to like... It's not like you let him get kidnapped to find the location of the Wyatts. And like, let's say they had a tracking, like a Apple tag, for example, if you want to use like a real life tracking device, right? And then they went to the Wyatts. I know it's not that anymore, but let's just, for the sake of an example, the Wyatt compound, right? And they're trying to find that. It's not even like they did that. You could have just had Miz as bait for the Wyatts, not even have him get kidnapped. Because honestly, I don't buy the notion that they would kidnap him and let him go because he's just said he would change his ways. Miz is clearly not a trustworthy person,
Correct.
so they're just stupid for letting him go. So honestly, I think if they're after Miz, they should realize that this should have been last week instead of him getting kidnapped. Like, he should have just been bait. And then that would make... Honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with it then. It's just the fact that he got kidnapped and let go, as I think is stupid.
And so the part that I find interesting is... So putting on the whole backstage with Final Testament, right? Saying, like, I'm going to get... So that means that you're conscious that the Wyatt Six could be watching live, yes?
I guess so.
But then so many times there's so many things where you have to just accept that they're not... Nobody has the access
Is
to
that
watch
a suspension of disbelief there, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
So it's just like... So they're sort of admitting, yeah, you could be watching live, so we have to keep up the ruse, but then a million things happen every week where nobody seems to watch Raw and learn anything. But anyways, that's just me being strange, I think. Solo Sikoa tries to recruit Seth as well. Rollins says he'll never team with Reigns ever again, but he'll never join forces with a wannabe Roman Reigns.
So I kind of like that.
Didn't call him Timu Roman Reigns, but basically did.
We know.
Rollins stares at Jacob Fatu, who's standing there, but Solo kind of holds
like
Fatu
that.
back.
Hey, that'd be a sweet match.
Yes.
And tease as many things with Fatu as you want, because then once he kind of breaks out, there's so many analyzing
little bits
opportunities.
to Women's Tag Team Championships, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They retained against Liv and Raquel Rodriguez in an 8-minute main event. KOD for Liv for the win. It was just a vehicle, like an 8-minute main event that was just okay. It was just a vehicle to get a whole bunch of women out there, right?
Yeah.
To get the War Games thing going. So Jax and Stratton come out. Naomi comes out. I think those three were during the match.
Those are all SmackDown.
And then after the match, it was EO comes up, right? So Jax with a post-match attack to everybody. EO comes to help. Baby faces stand tall to end the show. So it was just kind of a nothing match to get all these women together and try and convince us that there's something there big enough for them to have a War Games match, which, again, in contrast to the
honestly,
men's, it's
until this week
night
or so,
and day.
I legitimately thought they weren't going to do a women's one. That's how much I was like, I didn't think that's how hasty this is. I just thought they weren't doing one
hasty is a
this
great
year.
word. That's exactly what it is.
I just thought they weren't doing it.
No, they are, and they're cobbling it together quickly. So again, 2-hour Raw, awesome because it's 2 hours, but not a lot happening right now that's interesting to me. NXT, we get the show opened with Lash Legend, and you saw little bits of this show. I got you to watch one match because we may talk about it at the end of the year.
Foreshadowing.
Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson opened against Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. Sorry, they say Vaquer.
I go with Vaquer usually.
Pretty good opening match. I have to say, Lash and Jackson have vastly improved character-wise. They're like a kind of an interesting unit now.
Well, they're not a unit because where's Noam Dar?
Jackson does things in the ring now, so that's an improvement too. Like, she does moves and stuff.
I saw Dar cut his hair. I saw some Instagram posts.
Oh, yeah?
He's not dead.
Vaquer hit her double underhook backbreaker. Then she and Julia basically hit a BTE trigger for the win in 11 minutes. And then after the match, remember, they were like, what? Are they breaking up already? But it was just each of them posturing for their Iron Survivor, like saying, I'm going to win the Iron Survivor. So I was like,
as
what?
They're
already turning on each other. So Vaquer and Julia are really good. I don't know if I need them as a tag team going forward. But Lash and Jackson now feel like a tag team and showcase a lot better personality. They're a tag team they've already had a cup of coffee on main roster, right? So clearly somebody
they were on the Saudi
something
show.
In them. Oh, right. That's right.
Which is surprising.
Iron Survivor qualifier match. I told you I was kind of surprised. Sol Ruka dominated Cora Jade for 3.5 minutes and then won with the Soul Snatcher. Like, when they're dominating so much, you're like, oh, there's no way they're winning.
It's like,
clearly like she dominates and then like Jade gets Penelope one stretch, right?
Where she got a bunch and then she loses.
But no, so I agree with it though. Ruka's developing really well, connecting with the crowd. And other than Cora Jade's look, which I'm sure management is very happy about, she's like in ring and talking.
I feel like she's always kind of sucked, but
she's just she's not very good. So maybe they've realized this, right? And because she got next to nothing and lost this. So Dion Lennox and Carmen Petrovic I put are having a very adult conversation about their favorite colors. I'm like, oh my God. They're adults sitting there. So what's your favorite color? Anyways, Ashanti walks up, and I think at some point they implied that. Remember how it was like Lennox was just right behind them reading a book last week? I think it's implied that that was intentional, and that it was sort of to help Ashanti out. Anyways, Carmen is complaining about being distracted by Ashanti's yellow beanie last week,
It's
and
her
then
favorite color, yellow.
this ends up turning into. Long story short, we're getting a mixed match with Ashanti and Carmen taking on Dion and Brindley. So I think the idea is that they staged this so that it would come to a head and Ashanti and Carmen would get in a match together, I guess. I don't know. But it's back to like
I don't
NXT high school. But I find Ashanti interesting though. But it's another like cheesy romance angle on NXT.
best.
Ava addressed the tag division, kind of. She wants them to step up, which means, you know what step up means or whatever it is in NXT is argue and fight a lot. That's really stepping up. So in her office with her were Gallus, Hank and Tank, I think No Quarter Catch Crew, OTM, Tyson and Tyreek, and the family. And then I told you Briggs was there, and they made a camera stopped on him for a second because he's there alone and he leaves early. The rest of the teams end up arguing, and Ava likes their energy. I find this like, I'm happy they're showcasing the tag division, but I would call this uninspired, right? Like the boss says, hey, you guys need to step up your game, and then they just are like, raw, we're super intense now and angry with everybody, because that
makes sense.
was a thread throughout this show.
The big thing though is there's the new Noah guy, right?
Yes, he comes up a bit later. Another Iron Survivor qualifier. It's Wesley Cedric Alexander. This match was weird. Some parts were really good, and then Cedric got a lot in this, but he also looked clunky again. So I told you he really bad suicide dive where he decided to grab the top rope as he flipped over, and he like just missed everything and slammed himself into the ring basically. But he did hit a really nice Michinoku driver. And he also countered the cardiac kick with a drop kick to Lee's face as he was upside down. That looked good. The ref was putting the turnbuckle pad back on and missed a pinfall for Alexander that I thought was pretty well executed. I think it was off the Michinoku driver. And then it was basically a Meteora.
He's got a good driver.
Meteora by Lee for the win. I feel like Cedric has put on probably like 25, 30 pounds of muscle. And so I feel like some of the high flying stuff he could easily do a couple years ago
back in the day
is not happening, yet the power stuff looks good. I heard somebody say it, I thought it was funny, that he's bulking up to fit in with the Hurt Syndicate. Because it's like, look at Shelton now, right? Like he looks crazy.
Shelton's beef.
So you'd have like large, medium, and small in like super jack dudes.
Honestly, I would take Cedric to AEW just to have the crew.
I think that's cool for him too. I think I like Sean Spears now. I know. He interrupts Tony D at the restaurant.
I saw a bit of it and I thought you wouldn't like it.
No, so Spears wants the North American title, but he's going to have Jensen fight for it, which I think is funny. So it almost sounds like a Christian situation, right?
Christian Luchasaurus. He's going to have him fight like as a heater or to fight for the title?
He wants the title. He's obsessed with the title or whatever, but
like, is Brooks
winning it for himself? I don't know.
Fight for the title, or is it like this is like,
oh, I don't know.
Priest facing Kaiser kind of deal?
Could be. Yeah, I don't know if he's gatekeep. It felt not that way, but it could be.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure.
Tony tells Brooks to think for himself, and I really like this because like Brooks' reaction is to immediately want to attack, and you can see Spears just stops him. And I thought that, I don't know, the way Brooks is selling it is really good. Spears says he's starving to do more and become more, and the only thing that will satisfy his appetite is the title. And then Spears and Brooks walk off. So this part was strange. Outside, Spears, as they're walking to like their vehicle, is like, that's how you handle a boss or whatever. And then they get in this car and they just go, isn't that right, Nico? And I don't know who Nico is. And I don't think we've seen him before. So I don't know if that's their way of introducing a new guy. He's like the driver. I bet you check like if he's been on Level Up, probably.
Nico Vance?
Yes, I think so. So I guess it's just Spears adding somebody. But he's dialed back the character that annoyed me so much, and it's way more believable. His delivery is different. He's not using vocabulary and being almost cryptic now when he speaks. And there's something about Jensen.
WWE star debuts in new faction.
There you go. There's something about Jensen just standing there, almost like as the attack dog, fiercely loyal to Spears, right? That I kind of like. Yeah, I was like, at first I was like, is he one of the guys we've seen?
Oh, here's an interesting graphic: is him versus Luca Crucifino from Level Up.
So I was wondering if he's one of the guys we've seen in like when all the family's there or other people are there, and the idea was that Spears has an inside guy in the family. But I don't think Nico's been on at all.
I don't think so.
But anyways.
He's been on Level Up, and he's faced Crucifino at least.
Amazing. Trick gets in the ring with a mic to call out Ridge Holland, but Andre Chase interrupts to respectfully kind of let Trick know that he's not done with Ridge Holland yet. Trick does a really good job putting over Chase for quite a while, even hints at giving Chase a title shot. But this is when Holland, because he's like, you've done a lot of things here and blah, 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 but one thing you've never done. And then Holland comes out, accuses Trick of basically ducking him to face a lesser competition.
I would say it's lesser competition for sure.
Holland's like, I beat him in an ambulance match a couple weeks ago, which is a very fair point, right? Chase says he wants one more match with Ridge. Ridge says no, and I like this thread too. Compulsive gambler Andre Chase is immediately like, I'll put the university on the line for it, right?
It's a decent thread considering, although
it is.
I don't know if you can make another calendar.
And it also is Ridge goes like, I don't care about your stupid university, basically, right? I only care about the NXT title. And then so Trick is like, so let's set it up for next week.
I don't know why Trick is making this match though, because I don't know why he cares
about what.
Like, it almost seemed to me like, because so Chase is begging for this match with Ridge, and Ridge is like, nah, I don't care. So Trick's like helping Chase to get that match, but it's like, why does he?
I guess.
And
he's babyface.
I guess.
Even though we just had the storyline of every babyface in the company hates you, Trick, and now Chase is like, I love you, Trick.
There's also that.
Yeah. So Trick says to set it up for next week. Ridge versus Chase. Winner gets a match against him at Deadline. He says he's pulling for Andre Chase for everything he's overcome. He says NXT loves Chase U, and Chase U loves NXT. That's a relationship he has with the people and Duke and Riley and Thea. And then Ridge just goes, that. And I really liked it. And then I'm like, what? And he basically is like, it's the relationships. He's kind of like, if I win, then you're done. Your relationships with those three people are done, right? Like, I don't want Chase U. I want to really get you. You're done with the people that you love so much, right? So I thought that was kind of cool.
I don't know if who wins then, because it's
I know. I don't feel like Chase. I feel like Chase U is just the thing they'll keep there forever. You know what I mean? And rotate people in. So I don't know. Chase agrees. Ridge tries to attack, but Chase and Trick then get him, and they Chase U stomp them together. So I liked quite a bit of this. I thought Trick sounded better than usual. The whole Ridge going, that's what I want. Because it's almost like Ridge wouldn't have thought of it, and Trick has kind of screwed Chase over. Because he's like, oh, your relationships with your students that's what I want. I want to take that away from you. I thought that was cool. And then in a later segment, I'll talk about it now. Hudson, Osborne, and Hale are obviously trying to talk Chase out of risking this and blah, blah, blah. Chase gives some little speech and then just walks away. But one thing I noticed is when they're like, and maybe this is nothing, when he's like, huddle up, guys, it's like him with his arm around Hudson and Hale, and then Osborne is like in the background, not in the huddle at all. So who knows if he's going to turn or something.
That'd be odd if he turned, but
he was one of the ones skeptical of Ridge, which we're not supposed to remember. Now it's just like they've revised it. Like, I've always been on board, like Thea was, which isn't true. But anyways, vignette where Jada Parker congratulates Sol Ruca on qualifying, but says that's the closest she'll get. Jada will get the win like she did last week, and she'll leave Deadline Iron Survivor. I only made it notable because she's amazing on the mic. She's super believable. Love her. She sounds incredible. Briggs, as you said, is with Ava, and he's got, what is it, Yoshiki Inamura from Noah. Apologize
I don't even know
if that's wrong.
His name. I just remember them having a guy on Excursion.
And I've never seen him, so I'm always down for somebody new, right? Briggs is talking him up. Eddie Thorpe walks in. He's tired of being blown off. Ava says, I've decided to give you an Iron Survivor qualifier, so Eddie is happy with that. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing a new wrestler for sure. And I think Briggs is good, and he's been like absent for a while, right?
Well, he was in the Noah tournament for a
that's
while.
right.
And
Then
they
that's
probably
where
didn't use him,
his connection with this guy while he was in
which
Japan.
is why I think it makes sense.
So this is what the match that I can't say made you go and watch, but I did strongly encourage you and put it on in front of you. It's Nikita Lyons and Adriana Rizzo. This was 4 minutes of
garbage,
awfulness, right? Like, so you had, for some reason, Nikita Lyons is going for full Nelsons. The full Nelson slam she did looked okay.
That was okay, but that was the basic move that Eric Rowan did. Like, it's not.
Then remember she did like some ripcord release thing that didn't look great.
That was dumb, yeah.
She then like rammed her butt cheeks into the Rizzo's face on the apron.
She's like on the apron, she just kept going like,
like you're choosing the softest part of almost anyone's body.
So bad on audio. Oh my god. Just because I'm going to say
the softest part of anyone's body as a weapon. So when like Toni Storm does a hip attack, your hip is bony, that can hurt. But like just your butt cheeks hitting them.
Plus also Toni Storm's running at them with like extreme velocity.
Right. And she's standing stationary. Then there was, remember, a big miscommunication out of the corner, and it just looked super clunky. And this was, I guess it was Alliance catching a Thez press, slamming her, and Vader bomb, right? So this was really rough.
It was abysmal.
Nikita Lyons, and I was hopeful, right? Like, okay, heel turn, but she's severed all connection with Oba Femi, which I think would have helped her a ton.
I just don't think she's
good
at
all. And she's bad in the ring, I'm pretty sure. Yep. And Rizzo's not good enough to overcome that.
No.
And she's not really.
Her character sucks, but.
So then we get things kind of picked up. Another Iron Survivor qualifier, Javon Evans, Lexis King. I think you watched this as well.
I've seen parts of it. I either caught the finish or I've seen the clip on Instagram.
No, you saw some stuff with me because I remember you were watching. I replayed. So Evans did a kip up into a cutter was one. And then remember it
was a suplex kip up, right?
Suplex and immediately into a kip up, which is crazy. As soon as Evans' shoulders hit the ground on the suplex,
the lack of hesitation was actually crazy.
So the story of this is because Lexis King is trying really hard to be a baby face. He accidentally headbutts Evans in a low blow, right, on a leapfrog attempt, but he won't capitalize on it. He like makes sure Evans is okay and doesn't want to continue the match, and the crowd's chanting like that's illegal or something. Evans hits a frog splash. It looked awesome. His finisher, he absolutely drilled this time, right?
Yeah, I kind of like it because it looks kind of cool. I don't love how they kind of set up where they're lying vertical to the corner, but at least it looks more effective than like a, say, Starship Pain.
Yes, it does.
You know,
and King actually hit some decent stuff here too. Thought a solid 10-minute match, and then later on, there's a segment in the locker room where King's offered support from like, I think it was Hank and Tank and Dante Chen is there. And then Gallus come in and are like, oh, we're celebrating losing now kind of thing. So I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do with Lexis King. I feel like the long story is he can't pull off being a babyface, right? And
I don't think so. I think it's an odd choice in general.
And they've been going out of their way to mention Brian Pillman so much that I wonder if he's like
coming back from the dead.
Coming back with a name change or something.
He's going to embrace the Brian Pillman Jr.
He's going to be He's
going to pull a reverse Nathan Fraser. Cause remember, I think his real name was Ben Carter.
Looser cannon?
The loosest cannon.
Yeah.
But didn't you remember, because he came in NXT UK as Ben Carter, and then he changed his name to Fraser. And I Ben think Carter's real name.
I think they acknowledged Lexis.
Benjamin Timms.
I think even in a vignette, Lexis King talked about he's choosing this name because it was of his stepfather who actually raised him, and somebody else,
or something like that. Because Lexis and King
so we already A kind of know it's not his real name, and B they're like Brian Pillman.
Yeah. So, and there's no way AEW could trademark.
So I think he embraces.
Oh, Fraser's birthday's 4 days before mine. Nice.
He embraces his DNA and becomes an awful heel. I don't know. We'll see. Fraser got himself an Iron Survivor qualifying match, and Axiom is annoyed. So it's the same dynamic of Fraser going off and trying to do singles things. Fraser walks off, OTM walk up and say they have issues with singles guys holding titles. So are they saying Axiom and Fraser are singles guys, I guess?
Isn't that what
I mean,
Someone
I
else
don't
made
like
that
that
argument
either.
too.
I don't like that
I
either.
think it was
but-
Theory and Waller who said that. Maybe I don't know. Someone else made that argument.
So the family walk in and everyone starts arguing and fighting. So that's it.
Dar's birthday is the day after mine.
Nice. Main event was Fallon Henley. She retained the North American title. I don't think Kalani Jordan looked good in this. And so several moves of hers barely hit or didn't look impactful. Remember, she did the moonsault off the apron and were you there? And she barely clipped. Anyways, you did see her do the rolling thunder into a shooting star. I swear you were there watching it. I'm talking about how not impactful it was.
Maybe.
Because think about it, a rolling thunder, your momentum.
That's what I'm picturing. Rolling, that's why I think I saw it, because picturing that in my head, it's like you're rolling forward, and then you gotta jump to flip.
Right. So with the normal rolling thunder, you're going forward, forward. Yeah. And this one, you're going forward, stop.
I remember Humberto used to do. He would do like a backwards roll into a moonsault, which would make the same amount of sense.
So I know she's trying to do the homage to RVD with her own spin, but I thought it looked kind of silly. Henley did some sort of like. It was Jordan's coming off the ropes, and it's like when you use your legs to sort of trip them up, and it looked super smooth for her. I will say JC Jane cheated twice and did a great job. One was pulling Henley's foot on the ropes at the last second. Perfect. The other one was like a forearm shot as Henley's face came through the ropes. I think both looked good. I thought Henley's look is really cool. Her makeup and stuff look different. She's starting to carry herself like the heel stuff is more believable, and she looks kind of more like a star. I thought she looked good in this, but I don't really think Kalani. I think we kind of need to pump the brakes on her a little bit. Maybe a bit too fast, too soon. Her talking's not good. In ring, it's one of those like she's an athlete for sure, but her stuff isn't convincing me. The
match with Ruka was okay.
Basically,
the one we saw.
The what was?
The match with Ruka.
We did like that match. So she's capable of having a match, but and then Fatal Influence posed with the title after the match. OTM take the mic away, say they're not easy to, or say they are easy to find. Family Attack, brawl at ringside, Gallus, Hank Tank, tag teams fighting because tag teams are stepping up.
OTM and the family already had a feud though.
They're stepping up, those tag teams, arguing and brawling nonstop.
Brawl on TV instead of doing nothing backstage.
That's it. That is all I have. Anything from SmackDown?
Only thing was that Nakamura's back and he attacked LA Knight after match. I'm glad to see him back and he's sick, but I'm not going to take the bait for false hope.
And Nate's still a champion. Knight's still a champion, right?
Yeah.
So he's right into a championship angle.
He's getting fed though.
Probably.
Like,
are they happy with Knight's run so far? I haven't really.
I don't know. I think it's kind of petered out. But still, I don't think they whenever they give Nakamura a mid-card belt, they just stop doing things with him.
They do.
Which they don't do things with him anyway. So I'm not taking the bait to hope they're gonna do something with him. I think that ship has sailed. I remember Thompson was actually talking to me one day and he was asking me Nakamura. He's like, he straight up asked me because he's pretty casual on it.
Yeah.
But like he straight up asked me if Nakamura was still around. I'm like, oh yeah, he's always been there.
They just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Got nothing for you.
I thought about putting Nakamura up here and I was just like, nah.
Anyways.
AEW, it's not as pointed, but I suppose that will conclude. I did want to mention, like, they have Machine Gun Street Profits on SmackDown. I think I saw Ciampa get involved.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a non-finish, but I imagine it being killer. So depending on what I see the reception being, I kind of want to check that out.
We getting Blackheart
on paper. Because they're teasing Ciampa is kind of like pissed about getting screwed out of the titles with the Bloodline, like getting passed over for opportunities. So I feel like the Machine Guns jumping the line will kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
it
that's
sucks because like. I do like that they're running back the DIY thing, but you're never gonna have it the way it was.
Oh no, definitely not. That
was like that's. I mean, you talk about Hangman and Swerve, but that's also one of the defining feuds of this thing we call pro wrestling.
It was. I guess that's gonna bring us to the end of episode 226, just coming in at about 2 hours, as seems to be pretty normal for us. But anyways, thanks for joining us for any or all of this. If you did. Send us a like, a follow, a subscribe, or whatever. Recommend us to somebody if you can. And we'll definitely be back here next Saturday for episode 227. And until then, everybody, take care.